Welcome, Panther fans, to another edition of Off the Rails Sports Saturday. I'm your host, Coach Miguel Melendez, along with Coach John Thayer and the voice of Panther basketball and baseball and soccer, Kyle Eden. We're here on episode 25. 25 episodes, guys, since we started. We branched out on our own. 25, because there's some that we missed on video that hadn't got, but I did keep the count right. Just amazing. Gentlemen, how are you this morning? How are we doing? How y'all doing on this nice rainy day? You woke up to a nice storm?
You said gentlemen, so he's talking to you.
Exactly. I wonder if you catch that.
I did catch that right off the bat.
You're right. It's raining, or it was raining.
Yeah.
And that was my alarm clock this morning. So
The
That
thunder,
early?
Yeah.
thunder at 5 o'clock, 5:45, where it was.
So I was up pretty quick, thinking that the roof had fallen in. So, I don't know.
After all the painting you did, you're like, oh man,
Here we go. It's all done and over with. And by the way, we're done with that.
Your summer project is
And
done.
I'm taking a 3-week vacation from anything. No cleaning the house, no nothing.
Coach Thayer, sorry if I didn't mention you last week. Got into
Yeah, dude, I'm
I know.
on like a mini honeymoon vacation thing, getting ready to
Well,
go,
you didn't need to be.
go into the
you didn't need to be
mountains,
listening
and
to
my
us
buddy
then.
texts me, and I got to pull over real quick. And then, I'll come back later and kind of said, dude, didn't even shout me out for helping out a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
I'll forgive you though. I'll get a hug back. And
We got such a late start. We got into the conversation with the ladies, and man, it was a great conversation. And I got lost. So,
I got screen cleaner. You want one?
but anyway, today, guys, we have two guests on today. Our first guest will be Robert Gilman, used to be the voice of Panther football.
The
Uh,
Robert Gilman.
the Robert Gilman. He is to come back this year. He's going to be play-by-play for the middle school football. And what's cool about this year is that we won't just be doing home games. It'll still be 8 games that we're broadcasting. It'll be 8 games home and away due to the fact that we have combined middle schools to have one. And so we wanted to bring Robert in today because the first middle school game is next Tuesday at 7 o'clock, not 6, 7, because
It's 7?
it's at 7 because registration is Tuesday night, and they pushed it back because of all this deal going on with Sumner
I'm
County,
excited. I can get my ride in now.
computers and everything.
That was stressful.
And so now it got pushed back to 7 o'clock at the start time next Tuesday. You can listen to the game live on the PSN YouTube page. Robert Gilman will be your play-by-play. Coach Thayer will be your color, and hopefully we'll have another color in the seat for a
The
second color.
Hopefully the voice of the Panthers basketball will
Well, he's putting the pressure on you. ain't he?
decide to come out of football
He
retirement.
just called me out right there.
But that will be broadcasted live on Tuesday night at 7. So the first game, and after that it's 8 straight games, and then you'll have the 9th game will be the county championship, and hopefully Portland Middle School will be in that. First game will be against Ellis, and that will be here, and then we will go to Beach second week of the middle school and play T.W. Hunter. And we will have also our second guest will be coming in here in a little bit, and that will be Coach Kyle Lane, the head coach of the middle school. And he'll be on for most of the show, and he'll have to face the lineup of Robert and me and Kyle and Coach Thayer.
Am I distracting you?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, well, a little bit. I was kind of
It
watching
was
you do.
my
Oh,
fault.
I'm just trying to watch what you're doing here, and I'm like, man, he ain't getting it clean, and so.
It's been a few years, I think.
But anyway.
Maybe this needs repainting.
Yeah.
Got some kills.
Robert, welcome to the show. How you doing, buddy? I know we've been
Doing great.
friends for a while.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was just pondering this morning that, what's been 18 years since the school split.
Yeah.
So this is actually 18 years of middle school action that we've covered from the broadcast perspective, because when we first started, it was just the East-West game. And we didn't cover all 8 games at that time, and finally convinced some other folks to can we just do all home games? And we were able to do 4 of the East, 4 as well. 4 or 5,
Yeah.
well, really 3, 5 because the East
Yeah.
and West played each other. And so it was, it's remarkable to look back that 18 years we've been covering middle school football for the Panthers. And there's only a few counties or communities that even broadcast middle school football games. And so I think it's a great privilege that here in Portland, man, that we get to do this.
That's one thing I've heard from people is that they were really impressed that we would even think about broadcasting middle school games, and I think that really caught on. I guess we started doing all the games back in 18 and 19, 2018, 19, maybe like that.
Something like that.
And because I know,
No, I think the first year we did East and West, and then we went. So it was the second
well, I was
season.
in coaching till 15 or until 16, and that's when I joined you
Yeah.
in the broadcast, and that's
Yeah.
when we decided let's try to do
Yes.
all the games.
Mhm.
I remember we sit over at Hardy's when we talked about
That's right. Come on, bro.
but yeah, it's been a long time doing that. A lot of people do, and what we get is not so much as people here in town. It is, hey, little Johnny gets to have their grandparents who live in North Carolina. Little Johnny who has parents up in New York or Arizona. They get to listen now and get to listen to his games, and they're so happy that they
And
get
maybe
to tune
see
in.
it. If
Huh?
you say,
Well,
maybe
yeah,
see
if we
it
do
too
it right,
in real life.
hopefully we can get
And
that
it won't be
part.
that perfect, but it'll be just as good as Game Changers.
Sure.
And I'm gonna tell you what, you were talking about far away. Man,
Yeah.
me and my wife live on Game Changer with our grandsons in baseball. So
Yeah.
anytime you can hear or see what's going on
Yeah.
with your grandkids far away, it means a lot more than a lot of people even realize.
Well, you brought up a great point there, Coach Thayer and Coach Miguel. We're with the technology that we have today, broadcasting, television, from the computer to Game Changer to all the things that we have. It's amazing that, unfortunately, when all of us was playing, if we had the local radio station covering a game, it was, hey, we may get to hear a name on the replay, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But now, with technology, it's so cool that we can cover all the sports that this network covers, and now to broad it to a place now where across the world anybody can listen in. So technology has changed a lot over the years. If you don't believe me, we could probably ask Brandon Roberts. He's been doing this thing a long, long time, and he could probably go back from the days where they were just lucky to get a broadcast out over the radio.
Broadcasting from the parking lot.
Last
From the
year-
parking lot.
Last year we were just lucky a couple times.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. That's what I heard. But yeah, man, it's great, man. It's so cool where we're at in technology today.
Well, going back, let's go back a little bit, and I won't have you go back to trace your broadcasting, anything like that. Let's start off with, what do you think is the hardest part calling a football game that the fans don't realize?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I didn't prep
Trying
you,
to-
so
trying
I'm
to-
throwing these
I
out
know
there.
that
Well,
one's
the
easy
hardest
for me.
thing is
It's like-
making sure that the play is called correctly, and sometimes that's very difficult based on jersey color and numbers, and
How far
that's
away you are
how
from
far
the field?
you are away from the field. That's difficult at times. You can call the play, you just may
The
not
right
call the right
people.
player.
Yeah, that's the hard thing
Yeah,
for me too. I
and
think.
the jersey colors and the transitions today. You'll have a dark purple with a black number, or a black number with a dark purple, and you can't recognize the number.
Yeah.
And, that's probably the most difficult. Weather conditions sometimes can be a problem with that. Which at one year it seemed like it rained every other Friday night. Yeah, I mean that may be the most difficult. Making sure you call the name of the individual that's carrying the football.
Because you do feel bad when you
Yeah.
miss it, and then
But-
you get corrected, or you get a text going, "Hey, that was so and so." That
I'll tell you another deal too. Name pronunciation is difficult. I'm going to be working with the Portland Youth Football League this year doing their PA, and I've already seen some of the names, and I may just go last name only.
Sometimes
Smith and Jones
sometimes that don't
is
work.
okay.
Kyle, thank goodness, knows is English whiz when we're doing these Nashville teams. And I'm going, I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
do their first name or their last name.
Yeah.
But you know what? I've come to know the Nashville people ain't listening anyway, so
Yeah,
let's just call them Joe and Mike. And
that's kind of how I took it.
What's bad is when you have one of those names and there's two of them,
Yeah.
and they both
They're
suck.
brothers.
Yeah, and they both
And
suck.
that one time we were doing a basketball game, and we were having technical difficulties, and Kyle kept saying cherry, blah blah blah, cherry, and I thought, man, it cherries all over the place, and there was two girls on the same floor. They were sisters.
Yeah.
And I was trying to
wasn't there
look
in
up,
the
thinking,
sectionals,
that girl's
they had three
rebounding and
brothers?
shooting.
Yeah.
On that national team, 3 brothers on the
Yeah.
national team.
That's all
So
right.
yeah,
So-
that'd probably be the most difficult. Name pronunciation and following the game with the dark jerseys, dark numbers,
I agree
and
with that.
weather sometimes, the distance, because every stadium is so cool. It really is. You go to a stadium that doesn't have a track like we have here at Edgar Johnson, it's really, I don't say it's always easy, but that dark far end zone sometimes can be difficult.
Mhm.
But when you go to those venues that has a track and you're like 100 yards away from the track, and then you got the track, then you got the field, it's sometimes can be difficult,
Yeah.
especially with people with visual problems
I
like
think
that.
Jersey Creek and Beach are
Like,
tough.
you get into like Henry County. It was a nice setup. You know, you get in there, they treat you well up there at
Yeah,
Henry County.
that's
They
great.
feed you. They
Oh.
feed you and everything. They give you your little booth for yourself. You know, close the door.
Yes, sir.
But you're so far away.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, for some people, you know, you and Andy will have trouble. You know,
Oh yeah.
got the binoculars out, and you still
It's tough.
you still get it wrong. But like you said, then they get in the far corner because they're going to sit you. You don't get the 40, 50 yard line. 'Cause that's what coaches get.
Yeah.
You get the 20, you get the 30 or 20 yard line. So then if they're far away, yeah, you know,
But
it's,
that's yeah. But you know, you was talking about the hospitality. What was the playoff game we went to? It was way
it was down southwest Tennessee.
Hardin, Hardin?
Hardin County.
Hardin County,
Hardin.
and
I've
that's
heard
what
this story.
they hold the-
That's the reason I remember.
they hold the championship.
The
in-
NAIA
And man,
national
you talking
championship.
about treated like a king, bro. They had a spread for us up there.
God, yeah.
That was nice.
Yeah, it was cold,
It was cold.
but we got in there, had heaters. We
Yes.
brought heaters
Yes,
and all
we
kinds
did.
of clothes, thinking it was gonna be cold. And man, they had heaters in the press box, and they came out and they had
yes.
Domino's, Papa John. They had wings,
Oh
pizza.
my Lord, it was great.
drinks.
man. Drinks.
It was like, man, you help yourself. This is
Yeah.
for everybody.
Yeah.
Bathroom, a
Oh,
bathroom in the
yes.
press box. So
Hey,
that
ain't
was,
nothing like a good old bathroom in a press box. Can
It's
we talk
hard.
this? Can we share it? Is this okay?
Well, that's another thing that people don't understand. Everybody goes, "What's halftime? Go to the bathroom." Well, guess what? You're on broadcasting during halftime
Mhm.
and during the quarters, and then trying to get through the crowd. And then the old press box here,
Yes.
trying to get through the crowd,
Down those
Down
down
the
the
flight of-
steps.
steps without killing yourself.
and then through the crowd, and then fight it to get to the bathroom.
and then get back in
And
3
there's,
minutes.
there's no way.
Well, dude, last
You
night
know?
I was sitting there making a schedule of how we're doing it now. Because now we do the board
Yeah.
in the booth. So, you know, I figured the play-by-play guy should go first,
Yeah.
right? He's been doing the most. And then we got to go, but the play-by-play guy's not going to know
Yeah,
how to do this.
you have to go by shifts.
So we're going to have to go, you're going to have to do shifts and
Yeah.
make sure you don't get stuck talking to somebody for 20 minutes and go, oh gosh, I forgot. And then I'm looking like we're getting to start and I didn't get to go, man.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's,
Yeah,
that's
that's-
great. That's just some of the great experiences. You just, those saying goes, you just have to experience it to experience it, right?
how do you prepare before a kickoff? Walk us
Oh,
through
Lord.
a game day routine for you. You know, getting ready to do a
Well,
broadcast.
What was
Sit anywhere you
amazing,
want.
Miguel, years
Come
ago,
on in.
and he doesn't do it anymore, but the Murphy
You're
Fair, yeah, come on in here, Coach. The Murphy Fair book that came out every year was really the encyclopedia of helping broadcasters, radio crews to somewhat get prepared for a season. You pretty much had a lineup. You had their key 8 or 9 starters. Their history, how many yards they passed for last year, how many years they last year's rushing. I mean, but since the Murphy Fair book is no longer in existing, sometimes you just have to go back and go online and search the school and seek out
Just try to find a roster.
your rosters, your stats, what he did the week before. Is he a junior or senior? Is this his first or second year starting? So that's the prep work, and I don't, that prep work usually starts on a Sunday or Monday prior to the Friday game, just trying to get as much knowledge that you can in a short period of time, because we're not the CBS kickoff crew. We're trying to make it have as much information we can.
You have to do your own work.
But you have
Don't
to
get
do,
people-
you don't have the people in the background doing all your research for you.
And hanging up 100 lane coach.
Yeah.
They're not giving you nothing.
Yeah, they're not giving you anything.
I don't even know if they have a roster, to
Yeah,
be honest with
and
you.
another thing too, you're contacting the athletic director trying to make sure that we can get in the stadium, trying to prep that we can get to the press box, which end of the field we need to go into.
Do we have electricity to hook
Do we
up?
have electricity? Do we have to run an extension cord from our car adapter to
We
plug
did
in?
that.
Did
Yep.
that in Clarksville. You know, there's just so much that goes in that a lot of people don't really realize, to try to put in a good program, to make it good for the community, the listeners, the students, and yeah, man.
What it really helped for me as doing color when I was doing it with you was having access to huddle to the
Yeah.
high school and to the middle school, to where we can sit there and actually watch game film, same game film that coaches are watching, so we have an idea of what we're going to see. Maybe a back that we're seeing, or a lineman that they're doing something special or out of the ordinary type of thing, and so that helps us also get that way, get prepared for that.
But it helps when that company, you can get an accompanying roster to fit.
Oh,
Number
yeah.
12 is called this person.
Sure, and then you get a history, of the program. That's pretty cool to be able to share some stats about the history of the team that you're playing.
That there's an Alabama website that really, I don't think they keep it current anymore, but man, you can get a lot of back history.
Yeah.
So about 3 or 4 years ago, they stopped doing
Absolutely.
it. It's got Tennessee teams in it. I mean, they do Tennessee and Alabama, but it's pretty impressive.
Sounds like a job for Curtis Marlin. He could probably do one.
I've been trying.
Have you really?
Been trying to get him on it.
But yeah, that's just some of the prep, right? But man, I miss old
He can
Murphy
have a
Fair's
show
book,
on
no
this
kidding.
YouTube. We can do
That's pretty cool back in the day, Coach
how about old stuff.
Murphy Fair.
So let me ask you this, and I think I know the answer to this one. With you as a play-by-play, do you script anything, or is it all spontaneous and you just whatever happens?
No, you can probably tell, right? No, I don't script anything. I just
So your one-liners that you come out with just right then at the moment.
It's a moment. Sometimes, kind of like preaching. Every once in a while, you come across a quote that you remember or a thought that just comes to mind, and you just, And but yeah, they're just spontaneous outburst, I guess you could say. Just trying to having fun and bring excitement to those who are listening. I think my ultimate goal in broadcasting was always, I wanted the person that was listening to the game feel like that they were at the game. Vince Scully did a great job in doing that with the Dodgers. Jack Buck did that doing the Cardinals. Harry Carey did that with the Cubs. I mean, you just felt like, hey, you just brought excitement to the mic to make you feel like, man, what's next, right? So yeah, that's just spontaneous action.
Looking back over all the games that you've broadcasted, can you pick out one of the most exciting plays you've ever called?
Lord, that's a good one right there.
I guess I should have gave you this.
I don't know.
these questions
No,
last
that's
night.
good. No, you're good. It's not so much the play as it is the games that were called. The championship games, Coach Kyle, the county championship games. That's always cool. Any of the White House games that you do, that's always amazing because you're coming in with the extra excitement that that's your arch enemy. The Gallatin Green Wave game several years ago, when Portland beat Gallatin for the first time, I think since 1966.
2012.
Yeah,
2012.
that was just to go back to your alma mater. By the way, I just had my 40th class reunion there at Gallatin last weekend. Just throw that out there. So to go back to your old alma mater and see your team that you love dearly and you've fallen in love with on top of the ridge, called the Portland Panthers, and to call that game with Coach Wicks, that was pretty cool. But play anytime, a good run, a good hit, and we've seen a lot of those over the years, Coach, and been able to be a part of it.
I can sit there and tell you, I think the one that sticks out to me, and I just happened to see it, I can't remember where I saw it at. I think it was on my phone. I think me and Kyle did it, matter of fact. It was down in Mumford, playoff game.
Mm.
It was the throwback to Freddie at the end of the half. And Freddie goes like 80 yards. And he should have been tackled 3 times on the sidelines before he even got in. It's like everybody's so tired from running around trying to catch him
Sure.
that they just couldn't tackle him. And that gave you, I think it was Coach Edmonds' first or second year he was coaching. And we ended up losing the game to Mumford and everything. that was when we beat Southwind and then went to Mumford the second round and lost. But that play there kind of sticks out.
But you're talking about a play that I called, and I'm gonna tell you how it came about, because you asked me was a lot of the things spontaneous. But when you hear different calls from different play-by-play people, and John Ward, he always made it exciting for UT. But I remember back in I think it was '86 Sugar Bowl when they played Miami, and Willie Galt caught the pass, and he ran it 80 yards, and he made the statement, he's ran all the way to the state capitol. If you recall, Caleb Mandrell, I think it's Caleb. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, was down here, and it's like the 5-yard line, and somebody another, he took off running, and I made a statement, he ran all the way down the South Tunnel.
Yeah.
And that was a spontaneous statement, but I got that. It just come to mind from the John Ward call with Willie Galt going all the way to the state capitol. So, yeah. But,
I remember that because when you said it, I just sat there and my mouth dropped, and I just kind of looked at you like, where did that come from?
yeah.
Has there ever been a moment where you completely lost your voice or composure on the air?
All the time. That's every play. Voice, yes. Composure, the excitement that, I get excited in the booth just like the fan does when you see a touchdown run, a big play, a big hit. So to answer that question, I think every play is a moment where it's just exciting to watch what these kids do and how these coaches coach, and teaching these young men the value of the game, the value of life. And, man, I get excited about that when I see life change take place, and especially when you see a player that executes the play correctly. The coaches get excited, so why can't the announcer get a little excited? So that's how I look at it.
What's the funniest thing that's happened to you in a broadcast booth?
Are we allowed to talk about this?
I don't know.
We were calling a game, and I don't know who we were playing, but I wanted to say he went up the A gap,
Oh.
and I said he went up the A hole. Lord forgive me for that. So yeah, I think that might have been it.
Me and Fred were color. We was doing color. Hey, I remember you saying that because we looked at each other.
I wanted to say A gap, and that's what came out.
Holes are numbered. 1 hole, 2 hole, 3 hole.
You called it right. It just depends on terminology.
Gaps are lettered, holes are numbered. Well, I work with middle school kids, so I have to think about that.
But yeah, that may be it. That may be the.
A little bit behind the scenes stuff. What's happening during commercial breaks that fans never see or hear? Sometimes.
Well, a lot of times we are
Hopefully.
talking stats out with Kyle.
Hot mic.
We're looking at scores on Max Preps, trying to get updated scores so that we can share with the listeners. We're talking stats. We're talking, what play you think we ought to run next, what defense they may call here. That's the behind the scenes in that 1 minute commercial or 30-second commercial that we're just trying to, Curtis will give us a stat that we can, again, just give all the information we can to the listeners. That's, to
Make
me,
them feel like they're there.
yeah, make them feel like they're there. But also, they want to know what's going on. Hey, how many first downs has Portland got in the first quarter? We've rushed for 100 yards and passed for 50, but how many first downs? Curtis Marlin, along with Kyle, have done a great job in giving us that information so that when we do come back on the air, we have that information for the listener.
How do you develop your own style without sounding like somebody else? And I know you've done it over the years. When you first started out, you mirrored who?
That's a.
And then how have you changed through all the years that you've done broadcasting?
Well, I heard a person say one time in ministry that you got to be you, but that doesn't mean that you can't take nips and bits from other people and their wisdom and their presentation on things. And I've just tried to use my personality with, again, when you think about some of the great announcers out there, the Vince Scullys. I love listening to Vince. He's a storyteller, there's Kyle Eaton, he's the first string quarterback. His dad was a plumber. His mother was in education. He told a story with the player. He felt like he was connected, not just from the microphone, but in a relationship with Kyle Eaton. And I guess I've just tried to, living in Portland and building relationships here since 1997, when you see a kid that's the child of someone that you either work with, went to church with, hang out in the community with, played golf with, you know, hey, you just kind of build your own relationship, and you kind of tell that story in a way that you're not trying to mimic Vince Scully, but you're just trying to bring a little bit more to the table and be yourself in doing so. And I don't know that I've tried to be creative in doing any of that, but I've just tried to be me. And because there's been some great people behind the mic here in Portland, and I've never tried to mimic John Collins or Dale Wicks or nobody like that, but I have taken some of the chunks that they've shared over the airway and said, you know what, that'd be good to use at a time that I may be able to use it. So, yeah, that's...
Who inspired you to get into broadcasting?
Well, I don't know if I got inspired. I just got asked. That was, well, I think we're now.
He means so much to you.
Carl. No, it wasn't Carl. What's Carl's wife's name?
Bonnie?
Bonnie Fuzell. Thank you.
Oh, I'm gonna tell her.
Man, went blank. Bonnie Fuzell, we were doing a church event up here at Fields of Faith, up at the football stadium, and Bonnie called me in on the radio one morning to promote that, and she said something, hey, there may be an opportunity, and I said, huh, really? And so I got in, I was sideline reporting. That's when Dale and I think Scotty Klein were doing it at the time, and Scotty left, and then Dale left, and opportunity arose, and here I was. But you know, I did PA announcing before for youth football and middle school football over there in Westmoreland, and never really thought I'd be radio stuff, but hey, when opportunity arose, I just jumped right in.
I know I kind of brought you out of retirement this spring, had you do some softball games with me.
Yeah.
If you wasn't broadcasting football, what sport would you really want to broadcast?
Oh, wow.
And it doesn't have to be a sport that we play here in Portland. Just
Yeah. Basketball is always fun. Baseball is exciting, but if there was one sport, you know, I'd love to do the hockey broadcast, man. I think doing hockey would be pretty cool.
It's
That's
fast
it.
paced.
If you could pronounce all the names, you know, all the Russians and the Swedens and the, you know. But I think hockey would be fun to broadcast.
what's one game in sports history that you wish you could have called?
The one game. That's a lot.
Mine would be the 80 Miracle on Ice.
That's good. I think there's 3 or 4 that comes to mind, but since he's my favorite all-time athlete, I would love to call the playoff game between the Cowboys and the Vikings when the term Hail Mary came into existence. When Roger Staubach threw the pass down, Preston Pearson, I think with like 58 seconds left, and the reporter asked him after the game, said, tell us a little bit about the play, and Roger said, well, Coach Landry sent the play in, and when I broke the huddle, I threw up 5 Hail Marys because he's a renowned Catholic, and that's where the term Hail Mary came into play that we use today. The home run by Kirk Gibson in the '88 World Series, that's been a good one. But, you know, being a Braves fan, that Sid Bream slide at home plate to win the National League Championship Series against the Pirates, that'd been pretty cool to call as well. So, yeah, there's a number, Coach. I can just pick up one.
2000 football championship would have been a good one. I'd like to
Oh,
be
my
part of
Lord,
that.
man. Come
And
on,
then
somebody. I mean, I got excited with the county championship. I can imagine
The
state
2002
championship.
baseball state championship, that'd have been fun to be able to broadcast
Sure.
that stuff. That would have been really cool.
There's just so much, man, when you look back in history, sports history. Some of the great shots, plays, moments.
Who is one player that you wish, or that you could call, that you would love to call because of who he is, one of their games?
I'd love to do the throwback 70s Cowboys game with Roger Staubach because he's my favorite all-time athlete.
Well, you just made friends with Kyle. So.
Yeah. I mean, my wife bought me for my birthday last year a 71 throwback Roger Staubach jersey. and he's always been my favorite athlete. And if I could do a meet and greet or call one of his plays, I don't care if it was a handoff to Tony Dorsett, I'd be okay with it.
Last question here. If someone was wanting to get into doing play-by-play broadcasting, what's your advice to that person? Don't do it.
No, do it. Be you, number one. Don't try to mimic anybody else. Just be you. Do your homework so that when you do get on the air, you can bring the knowledge of the game, the player, the team, the history of the sport, the history of the school. Bring it to the listeners because, you know, they're tuning in for a reason. Not just to hear a game, but maybe to hear some facts that they were unaware of. So, yeah, that'd be my advice. Have fun with it, man. We're going to have fun this year, middle school football. Just like I do high school football, I don't treat any game any different. And we're going to bring the same energy and have a good time with it. And what's so exciting, I know Coach is here, we're going to probably take a break here in a minute, but what's so cool about it is that we're Portland Middle School. It's not in the East, it's not in the West, it's Portland Middle School. And it's going to be exciting for what this team's going to bring to the table this year. To be able to call it, it's going to be fun with myself and Coach Thayer. So we're going to have a good time.
Well, we appreciate Robert coming in, talking with us today. He's going to sit in with us and ask questions also along to Coach Lane as we get going on our next segment. We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll have Coach Lane, head coach of the middle school football team. And it's nice to sit there and not say head coach of the Portland West middle school football team. So like you said, it's easy to blend that in. Anyway, you're listening to Off the Rails Sports Saturday here on the Portland Sports Network. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Panther fans, to Off the Rails Sports Saturday. Again, I'm your host, Coach Miguel Medeiros, along with the voice of Panther basketball, Kyle Eaton, and Coach John Thayer. Our guest today is Robert Gilman, play-by-play announcer for middle school football, and now we have head coach Kyle Lane of middle school football. So, thank you for joining us, Coach.
Thanks for having me.
How are you doing this morning?
Good. My alarm didn't go off. I was worried about getting here on time, so you know the storms have made me sleep really well. We're first week of going back to school, professional developments and stuff, exhausted in my house because my wife's a teacher too. So slept in a little bit this morning and got up and come on up here.
Well, like I said, I knew we could sit there and get Robert. We could talk Robert for 2 hours and not have a problem. So. I got to tell you, I'm going to say, don't worry. You get here when you get here. We're good.
That's
we
right.
can fill in a lot
We'll
of
make it
time.
work.
We've had a lot of rain delays.
Oh,
in
Lord, come
broadcasting
on.
somewhere.
Yes, we have.
Now, Thayer and Kyle had a big one. Was it last year?
Springfield 2 years
Yeah.
ago. And in the station, like I thought, just play music, right? Until we can come back. She couldn't do it. So that's when Off the Rails really got invented because we were just talking about anything and everything. It was just a marathon of stupidness from me.
Well, you're talking about that, man. We was in Creekwood and it was our homecoming. And we pulled up and it's a rainstorm. They wouldn't even let us in the stadium. We sit out there in the
We
car
sat in the
for an
car.
hour. It's hot in the car. We turned the car on. You know, I mean, it was just monsooning. An hour and a half delay on that. And then we get out there. There's no band. There's no homecoming.
Nothing.
There's probably very few parents. Just us. So, yeah, it happens.
But give us a little background, Kyle, on how you got into coaching real quick and then kind of how long you've been at the middle school and all that. In case somebody doesn't know who you are.
Yeah. Well, I'm Portland born and raised. Been here my whole entire life, and graduated from Portland High School in 1997. Went to college of All State, then Tennessee Tech. I knew that I wanted to teach. I remember in 5th grade saying I want to be a teacher. So of course that plan changed along the way here and there, but eventually landed back at teaching. You know, my senior year of high school, we got our track team for the first time in Portland, and Mike Duncan was the coach, and I ran track. And I really wanted to be a track coach more than a football coach. And I was here at Portland Middle School. Michelle Robertson was the track coach, and I was her assistant. And then I was also the football assistant with Coach Fry and Coach Curry. So that was awesome to get to coach under them for 1 year. And I was after Coach Fry and Coach Curry retired. Jackson Howell became the head coach, and I was his assistant. And I was the head track coach for a couple of years there. And I still love coaching track, being around track. But I realized with track I only had kids for about 2 months, and with football I had them for 8 to 10 months. And I felt like I could make a bigger impact with kids and help them with their lives and, you know, different aspects of what they need to do to develop into better young men with football, because I had them for a much longer period of time. And I couldn't do both. There was one year I was the head track coach and the head football coach at the same time, and I did both teams a disservice in the spring. So I gave up track and started coaching football. But I guess my entrance into football would be thanks to Coach Fry and Coach Curry, because you know, they saw a man in the building and said, yeah, sure, if you want to help, come on, because I know how that feels now. When you get a man in the building, immediately, first thing you do is ask him, hey, you interested in coaching football? But Jim Butler also was the principal at Portland Middle School, and he pushed really hard for me to get a teaching job because I did not have a teaching license at the time. And he got me a waiver so that I could teach on an alternative license, and then I had to go back to school and get my teaching degree and all that, or my license and all that kinds of stuff. But so those three, Coach Fry, Coach Curry, Jim Butler, are really the ones that opened up the door for me. And then after that, then, you know, as they say, I got hooked and never looked back.
One thing I want to ask is, I know your dad, he's one of the finest men I've ever met in
I
my
appreciate
life.
that.
How, when you were a kid, like, did he try to throw you guys into sports, or how'd that all work out, or did you just, you know, I'm just wondering, because I know he loves sports.
Yeah. I don't remember Dad ever pushing us towards sports, but I mean, he was definitely supportive, and I mean, there's nobody more supportive than my mama. She supported us and the grandkids and everybody as much as possible, but you know, they take us anywhere we need to go and be there for the whole entire time, but we never got pushed. But you know, being the youngest, I saw my brother Corey playing sports, and of course that's the younger brother. I wanted to do what Big Brother did, and so no, Dad would be out in the yard throwing with us. He was Little League baseball coach for Corey growing up. I remember, you know, he'd tell me things that he did when he was a kid. So I had a circle on the barn, and I pitched into that circle, you know, because I was a pitcher in baseball. And he said that's what he had done when he was a kid. And you know, so he gave us thoughts, gave us practice, gave us tips and stuff. But he never really pushed us in any direction. The rule was you could only play one sport at a time. So, you know, you couldn't play a sport that was in season at the same time. So you played baseball and then football, but, you know, I couldn't play all kinds of sports because, you know, Mom and Dad had to work and didn't have time. And then they also felt like, you know, you couldn't really focus on one sport at a time if you were overlapping. So I played baseball and football growing up, and then never got into basketball. I'm not a very good basketball player, even though I'm tall. But when it come time for middle school, I just decided that I didn't really like baseball enough to continue playing it, but I did like football enough. So I played football through middle school and then high school, and then of course in high school I ran track my senior year because that was the first year that we had a track team. So, but yeah, Dad and Mom, I couldn't ask for better.
Yeah, well, I just know he's one of the finest men I've ever met.
I do appreciate that.
You should be proud. And
What-
I know he's proud of you, for
Yeah,
sure.
Larry Lane. I don't know if
That's
we even
right.
said his name. Larry and Georgia Lane.
What got you into the middle school? As in, was you looking for the middle school job, or were you just looking for a teaching job, and that opened up? And have you ever thought about going to the high school?
Never once in my career have I said I want to be a high school football
No, that
coach.
one. I think that one.
I've been asked many times. Lots of people in the community, and I appreciate every one of them that think of me when, you know, if the high school job comes open. I know texts are coming and messages are coming. Hey, you need to go to the high school. And lots of kids. I wish you'd go to the high school, coach, but I'm a middle school guy. As I was going to college, of course, we had to do different things in schools or whatever. And, you know, went and taught in elementary classrooms, high school classrooms, middle school classrooms, all this. I knew I didn't want to be a high school teacher right off the bat because high school kids, to me, nothing against any high school kid out there, but they're not as impressionable. They're kind of already set. You can't really teach them as much. It's more like refining when you get to the high school level. Middle school level, elementary school level, you're teaching them. You get those light bulb moments in the classroom and on the field every single day, where a kid just realizes you might have said it 5 times. And eventually he looks at you, he's like, "Never thought about it that way, coach." I'm like, "Well, I've said it 5 times, but you know, now you finally listened to me and got it." But so when I was going to Tennessee Tech, my last semester, I only had classes on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Tuesday, Thursday I was subbing. And I was subbing down here at the middle school, Portland Middle, under Jim Butler. And I was in every single classroom all over the building. 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, ERC, CDC, you name it, I was in it. And I fell in love with sixth graders then. And to be honest, I've told a lot of people this, fifth grade is actually my grade. If I could teach any grade, any group of kids, any age level kid, is fifth graders. I love fifth graders.
Come talk to Phyllis. She'll talk.
They're so inquisitive, and they'll use their imagination, they're creative, and they're not too cool for school. And that's why I really like sixth graders, because they're just coming out of that fifth grade range, so they'll still do some of that stuff. Eighth graders are too cool for school. They won't write something creative. They won't draw something goofy. They won't be fun. They're strictly they're freshmen essentially. I do have to teach eighth grade. I've actually got 3 eighth grade classes this year. And I like my eighth graders, don't get me wrong, but my sixth graders are where it's at. I love my sixth graders. But yeah, no, I never once in my life thought about being a high school coach. I always wanted to be a middle school coach. And part of that too is the timing. We start up in February, we're done at the end of September. So I know I get October, November, December, January. I get 4 months of nothing to do with football. Family time, me time, time to be able to just reset.
Yeah.
And I don't have to do anything. And, we start earlier than a lot of schools do. And we're doing stuff in June when a lot of schools aren't. So we do more than most middle schools do. But I do get those 4 months every year guaranteed. So that's I get to scratch the itch and do the coaching thing and help impact lives. But I also get to still have my family time, because I put a post out on Facebook yesterday, or maybe the day before. I don't think anybody truly understands what it's like to be a coach's wife except for coaches' wives, because your husband is gone, you're raising the kids by yourself. I mean, the last week, like I said, we've had professional development start back at school. We've been leaving the house, 7:30, 8 o'clock, and not getting home till 7:30, 8 o'clock, 12 hours. Me
Yeah.
and my wife, she gets home at 3. But she's been at work all day from 8 to 3 o'clock, and since she gets home, she's taking care of her daughter Kinley, and she's trying to take care of the dogs and supper, and I'm up not babysitting. I'm up trying to enrich young men's lives. I shouldn't have said babysitting. That's not what I'm doing. But I mean, I'm trying to be the coach, and she's carrying the load at home. So those 4 months. Notice I said family first, because I try to take as much off of her plate during those 4 months as I can. And I know I don't do as good of a job of it as I should, but it is time for me to carry more of the load while I have the time to do it.
What coaches have influenced your philosophy?
Oh, goodness. Roger Perry, first and foremost. Of course, played for Roger Perry in high school. And a lot of my discipline, a lot of the way that we treat kids comes from what Coach Perry did. The respect that you have for your kids, the way that you treat them like men. You want to talk to them like men, and you won't hear us cussing our kids. You won't hear us berating our kids. We will be loud. We will get on them when they need to be gotten on. We'll love on them when they need to be loved on. But just how to treat a young man in such a way that you teach him how to be a man. Because you can't coddle them. If you coddle them, you're not preparing them. You can't be too hard on them, because if you're too hard on them, you're just going to turn them off. There's a line that you have to walk where you get on them, but you also love on them at the same time. Even with Coach Perry, I say my discipline, but just the way Coach Perry structured and ran a program. Because there has to be a structure to a program for it to be successful. It can't be willy-nilly. Now, you got to come off of that sometimes, but this skeletal structure of a football program has to be in place for it to be successful at all. And I'm talking about day-to-day, in and out, how you do things. And that's why if somebody played for me 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or today, they're going to recognize the structure of what we do. There'll be differences. Kids come back all the time. Oh, you're not as hard as you used to be, coach. You're not as mean as you used to be, coach. Yeah, that's right. I've probably eased up a little bit, because when I was young, I was stupid, and I did probably things I shouldn't have done. But the structure's still there. That what we do what we do, and we tweak it along the way to make it work better if it can. As far as that's my discipline. That's our structure that we have in place. Jackson Howell was a huge influence on me with offensive football. Jackson, I was a wing T boy, brought up in Roger Perry's wing T, 298, 191, trap belly and buck sweep. And then Jackson comes in, 2-by-2 spread. We're throwing the ball 60% of the time. We're running all these different route combinations. I'd never seen anything like it before from a coaching perspective. I've seen other teams do it, but I'm like, that's what other teams do. We can't do that. We live in Portland. We're wing T, right? And Jackson, we were talking about it off air. Jackson's wording of how he calls plays. I was used to 298 was buck sweep. Well, buck sweep in our offense now is called bull. We don't call it 298. We call it bull, buck left. We call it bear, buck right. So Jackson really influenced me offensively. Defensively, he's going to get blushed over here. But Miguel's my biggest defensive influence ever. Miguel's taught me more about defensive football than any person I've ever known. That's why he's my defensive coordinator. But Miguel has really opened up my eyes to just what you can do defensively and how you can be simplistic, but also be very advanced and technical at the same time.
Boy, it's taken 20 years though. But
Well, you've got to admit, I have learned over the years.
yeah.
I've gotten better. Jackson Howe introduced me a lot to defense too. Like, I didn't know what a 3 technique and a 1 technique were when Jackson Howe came in. He taught me, if he's on the outside eye of the guard, he's in a 3. If he's on the inside eye of the guard, he's in a 1. I didn't know that because I never played defensive line. And then another huge influence in my life was Ron Taylor as far as coaching. Ron Taylor taught me more about offensive line play than any man ever. Because before Ron Taylor started coaching with us in 2011 and stayed with us till 2021, 10 years. He'd never stayed in a spot that long. It was amazing that he stayed with us as long as he did, which was a feather in my cap. It meant, Ron appreciated what we did and felt like he had a home with us.
I think Coach Taylor was my wife's 7th grade.
Yeah.
Science. Did he teach science? What did he teach?
He taught
Well,
everything.
anyway, whatever he taught at that time over in Westmoreland, because he was part of the coaching staff, Westmoreland there in the 70s and 80s. Yeah.
So from 2007, when I got my first head coaching job, to 2011, we didn't have line rules. We did what you call him blocking. Every week is you're going to block him. You're going to block him. You're going to block him. We had him blocking. And our kids, we got to the game and we wondered why we weren't successful, why we were missing assignments, why we had no rules. So when Ron come in, and again, I wasn't an offensive lineman, so I didn't understand rules. I knew what the line did. Like if I knew if it's buck sweep, I knew this guard was pulling, this guard was pulling. But I didn't know why. I didn't know what the rule was, what they're supposed to do. So Ron come in and he taught me all the rules, of the why behind the scheme.
Oh, that's so
And
good. So good.
now I'm not as good as Ron is, but I can tell you the rules. I can tell you what everybody's supposed to do. Now I can't coach linemen. I'm not a very good line coach. Todd Lambert does that for us and does a good job. But I know why they're supposed to do it, how they're supposed to do it, what the rule is, and all that stuff. So as you can see, I know you asked me a simple question about who my philosophies are. There's a lot there. I mean, I take and pull from anybody I come in contact with and try to gather and glean something from it, because everybody's got something that they can help you with, because everybody's an expert in something. May not be what you're looking for. Everybody is an expert in something if you think about it that way.
What does success look for you in a program?
Success in a program. Well, number one, we want kids to have trouble. We want them to have good discipline in the school. And of course, we're dealing with 6th and 7th and 8th grade young men, so it's hard to keep those young men out of trouble. But, we want their discipline report to reflect that they're thinking about the choices that they make. They're not going to be angels. They're still going to get in trouble, but we want them to be not get in trouble. Number 2 is grades. So discipline and grades are first and foremost. We want them to A's, B's, and C's. That's the standard for us. That's that structure I'm talking about. And within our structure, you get A's, B's, and C's. Now, I will tell mom and dads if they want their standard to be A's or A's and B's, I'll hold the kid to that standard. But the entire team, my standard is A's, B's, and C's. Obviously, if you're going to talk about success, we're going to talk about wins and losses. If you have a team that doesn't win any games, then you're not going to have success, quote unquote, in that win and loss column. But you can still find other successes. Did we improve? Did the kids get better? Did the kids grow together as a team? Did we see those little glimmers? Because we'll talk about it all the time. There's glimmers in kids. And what I mean when I say a glimmer, you'll see a little 7th grade kid that is 5'0", 80 pounds soaking wet, scared to death to tackle somebody. but man, he's got good hands. He can catch a football. That's a glimmer. We found something that he's good at. Now, we also realize what we need to reinforce. He's scared to death. He doesn't like physicality. He's small. So how can we utilize that young man that has that skill set? Well, first off, he's in 7th grade, so we're going to grow him and get him bigger and faster and stronger, more physical. But man, he's got good hands. So we're going to figure out how to utilize that asset that he's got. There's like we found one this week. Hunter Allen is a 7th grader. Hunter's big, tall kid. Hunter's probably, 6 foot tall?
Yeah.
Probably a good, solid 180 pounds in the 7th grade. I mean, he's just a big, raw-boned kid. We had him at outside linebacker. A little gangly, kind of like a little baby giraffe out there running around because he's so tall, you know. Just by happenstance, we run a drill, and they're doing pass protection. And Coach Lambert's like, Hunter, come here. Rush. None of our linemen could block him. Not a one of them. Maverick Martin was the only one that even come close. And we're like, Lambert come to me in the water break. He's like, we just found a defensive end. I said, what are you talking about? He said, Hunter Allen. Nobody can block him. Okay, we found a glimmer. He bumped from 7th string, or not 7th string, but probably our 7th best outside linebacker to our 3rd best defensive lineman.
Gotcha.
We found a glimmer.
Gotcha.
So we're looking for those glimmers. You know, we want to win. That's the place you can find success. Finding those glimmers and where we can utilize the kids somewhere. Those are all things that are successes for us.
Well, to put Coach and his staff up on a pedestal for a minute. I've watched those games where the wins weren't there.
Yeah.
But they were still fun games to watch.
Oh, yeah.
And the kids never, to me, looked down or I don't want to be doing this. They played 100% and they enjoyed being out there. So I think that says something. Also, if the wins don't come there, they're still competing.
Right.
And they're still playing football.
Yeah.
And I've enjoyed those seasons as much as the others.
It's hard to teach kids to push through adversity, and it's getting harder each year. And you hear it said a lot, and it's an easy cop out. You know, kids are different these days, but literally from somebody that's been around middle school kids since 2004, kids are different these days. There's no mistake about it. It doesn't mean that I don't do my job. It doesn't mean that I can't do what needs to be done in the classroom and on the football field. But kids are different. So if kids are going to be different, then I got to be different, right?
Yeah.
So we've got to find ways to reach the kids, to get the kids to understand how to do what they need to do and how to push through adversity and all these different things. And as an old school coach, it's hard sometimes to try to get that, to try to figure out how to be different with the kids. And that's why there's a lot of trial and error. You know, we'll try this, try that. Well, that didn't work. What else are we going to try, you know? But when you latch onto something and you find it, then you milk it for all it's worth.
Right.
And unfortunately, you only have 2 years to do that.
Right.
Compared to the high school of 4. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, but senior they don't listen to you anyway. So.
Yeah. Yeah, the high
That's the
school,
one thing I've always been told is when you coach a kid, try not to coach him his freshman year, because if you do, his senior year, he's toned you out. If he ain't figured it out by now, he ain't never gonna figure it out. And so.
He knows everything.
Another reason
And
why I
that's
don't
what
coach high school.
But you're right about the toughness. It's like, because like I mean I'm tough, and you try to motivate. Like I always say, so what now what?
Yeah.
Right, when they go 2 for 3, you know, they want to walk around and give everybody 5 in the crowd. I'm going, so what now what? I expect you to go 2 for 3.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the hard thing to get them to understand nowadays is you're not berating them. You're not knocking their 2 for 3. You're just wanting them to say, hey, this tastes good. How much better will it taste if you keep working?
Yeah.
To me, that's the hardest disconnect I get nowadays is they think that you're never happy with what they're doing. And
Yeah.
I am happy with what they're doing, but I don't want them to be happy.
I tell them I'm always hungry.
Yeah,
I always want more.
I like that. I always want more.
I always want more. No matter how good you do, I want more. And I try to translate that to them. If that's the way I feel for you, then I want you to feel that way about yourself.
Yeah,
You should
for
always
sure.
want more. So I always want more for you, and you should always want more for yourself.
And they have to understand that you wouldn't think that way about them if you didn't think that they had another
That's
level.
And
or
that you
another
care.
bar to go up to.
You're doing it for them, not yourself.
100% correct. And it's difficult to get kids to understand that message. I mean, I just told them that yesterday. We got something we've been getting onto, and they're in their feelings.
Mm.
You know, I had one crying yesterday because I'm tired of messing up. I'm tired of y'all, telling me what I'm not doing right. I'm like, Bubba, everybody messes up, and I'm gonna keep telling you when you mess up because I know how capable you can be. I was like, listen, you're one of the best football players on this team. I probably hadn't said that to him. Probably should have already. But I think when I told him he was one of the best football players on the team, it shifted his mindset, right? And I said, but I'm going to continue to get on you when you mess up. And it's okay. And it's okay that you're messing up. Just take the coaching. Don't get in your feelings about it. Keep working, because you are one of the best players on this team.
Can I add to that?
Yes, sir.
You, with the transition, with the schools coming together as one, what has been the most difficult in having that message come across to those guys who were not familiar? Let's say the 8th graders that's come in that were 7th graders last year for East. I'm not coaching. You guys are always great. I'm just saying, what was the philosophy behind implementing those into a program that now that you're just one?
You know, Coach, I'm lucky that those kids had Coach Combs and his staff, Andy Pannenbaker and Lamar Totten last year as 7th graders, because they did a great job with them. Obviously, West won 1 football game last year, and East won 0 football games last year. So neither one of us had any success. So it's not like we could sit here and say, oh, West was county champions and East didn't win a game, or vice versa. That wasn't the case. Neither team was very successful in the win and loss column. But, go back to the conversation a second ago, both teams were successful in building young men, building their character, building their work ethic, building their compete level. And so when those East kids come in to the Portland Middle program, they were just like our kids.
Sure.
You know,
I knew that, but I wanted everybody else to hear that.
and I'm glad you asked, but, you know, we spent from 2009 to 2025 East-West, and there's people that are strong in the West camp, and there's people that are strong in the East camp, and they don't want to cross. There's people in town that have said they don't like this combination. They don't like the fact that we're joined, and that's okay. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I love it because we're bringing all those kids together, and those kids are going to be together when they get to Portland High School, like it or not. So let's bring them together now in the middle school so that we can go ahead and start that process now. Well, we don't have to start the process because the process never began. When they split from PYFL into East and West, that's when the process begins, and then we got to try to fix that when
Bring
they
it
come
back
back
together.
to high school.
Yeah.
If we never split them, we never have to fix it.
Sure.
Right? So we did have to fix it. I realize I'm getting loud right now. I'm getting
Amen.
emotional about
Yeah,
this.
that's
but,
I got stirred up on that.
well, and the people that are in the East-West camp, again, I love you. You're entitled to your opinion. But we don't need those camps, because if we're in the Portland Middle camp, these kids never have to try to come back together. And I've heard people say, well, you're not going to get as many kids starting. Would it be better if we had 2 starting quarterbacks and we won 1 combined total game between 2 teams? Or would it be better if we had 1 starting quarterback and we win 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 combined games? Winning is way better than getting reps when you're getting your head beat in.
Sure.
Losing 50-0. You know, do you want to lose 50-0 and start? Or do you want to win 25 or 28-17 and maybe only play 5 or 6 plays in a game? You know, I mean, and that's where it's at. And nothing against East, nothing against West. Again, sure. I know West has had some success. East has had some success in the past. But the last few years, neither one of us have.
Yeah.
And it's hard to keep a team motivated. It's hard to keep a team wanting to work. It's hard to keep a kid wanting to play the game of football if they're getting 1 win or 0 wins. I mean, for goodness sake, East scored 1 touchdown last year all season. Those kids had to persevere and push and work their butts off. And the only success tangible success they were able to grab onto was either their personal gains of how they got better at their position or the 1 touchdown they scored that season.
Yeah, that's the hard thing too, coach.
So
is
good, Coach.
You don't want to be win, but if you're getting a few wins, it's easier to coach.
Yeah.
It just is,
Right.
dude.
And-
When you go 0-10, it's tough the last 3-4 weeks of the season to get the kids motivated. When you
Yeah.
can get a win here and there, not every game, but a win here and there just makes it easier on everybody,
And-
kids especially.
And people that's listening, please don't mistake what I'm trying to say. I know it may sound like I'm trying to bash East by giving some of those examples. I could give you examples about West too, but fortunately, it seems as if we've had better football players for however long, and we've been able to win and eke out a few more games because we have 550 kids in our building. East has 350 kids. We've got 200 more kids to choose from to build a football program. It's like a lottery. If you buy 5 tickets versus 1, you got more chances, right?
Well, I'm gonna add to that, Coach, because you got Watt Hardison and Gateview feeding into West,
Right.
and you got two of your smaller elementary
Right.
schools, which is Wiseman and Clyde
Riggs,
Riggs,
yeah.
going into East. So the numbers speak for themselves there.
To that point, if you look at our football team right now, and I just told them off air, if you look at our team and you don't know who's from East, who's West, you can't tell the difference. I mean, they're all Portland football players. But to that point, our starting left tackle right now is from East. Our starting left guard right now is from East. Our starting right tackle right now is from East. Our starting tailback is from East. Our starting, a bunch of our starting defensive players are from East. Our starting tight end is from East. They're scattered all throughout. Right now, if you look at our starting lineup, it's about 60-40. 60% East, 60% West, 40% East, which falls perfectly in line with the numbers of the schools.
Yeah.
You got about 550 in West, you got about 350 in East. So the percentage is right there, and that's not me trying to concoct something. Miguel's out there
I
with
was
me every
going to
day.
say, you're not sitting there going, I got to have
No.
half and half from East to West.
It's
Sure,
just the
that's
way
the
that-
last thing on your mind.
It's the way that it's failed. I'm not trying to figure out.
You know, if they got a little E on one side, you go, oh, let's put it
Yeah,
right.
no, I mean it's the way that it's felt. I mean, Miguel probably couldn't tell you half these
Yeah.
kids who's from East or
And
who's
you don't
West.
care
I don't know
at
their
this
names.
point. They're all
Yeah, Miguel don't even know their names.
I call them by numbers.
Yeah,
Yo, hey, 22, come over here. 859, you got to do this.
yeah, but I mean,
It's serious.
I would just, if anybody's listening that's been in the camp of why are we splitting? I don't like why are we joining back? I don't like this idea. Please get on board with it, because as a coach of Portland Middle School football for 22 plus years, I see the validity in this. I see how it's going to help our high school program. I see how it's going to help our middle school program. I see how it's going to teach our kids how to win, how to be successful, how to continue to work to get better at football, because they're going to get those little glimmers of wins along the way,
Yeah,
instead
it's
of
a
just
no-brainer.
coach telling me you did a good job even though you got beat 40-something to nothing tonight. That is going to be far superior than the extra reps you're going to get as a starter. If you got two starting quarterbacks and they're both getting sacked 5 or 6 times a game, they're not getting quality reps.
That's right.
If they don't have a quality line in from them, they're not going to get quality reps. And if your line is not capable of being starting caliber quality to be on the field, you're not going to get the reps. And from a personal perspective, my 8th grade year, Cliff Pitt stole my position at tight end.
Oh, please.
I didn't start. Great guy.
Yes, he
He's
is.
a good football player too.
I didn't know he played football. Go
Uh-huh.
ahead. That's awesome.
And then now I always get them confused. Cliff is the younger one, right?
Cliff and Clint.
Yeah. Cliff's the young one. Sorry, Cliff and Clint. I always get them confused. But he stole my position on offense, and then on defense, I didn't play. Okay? So as an 8th grader, I set the bench. I had been the most valuable offensive player in Pee Wee my last year. Go to middle school, played some as a 7th grader, get benched as an 8th grader. And I played all 4 years of high school football. So for people that think, oh, if they're not going to get to play as an 8th grader, if they love the game of football, they're going to continue to play when they're in high school, even if they're not getting playing time. Because, when you add 2 8th grade groups together, inevitably somebody would have gotten all these reps per game if we were split, and those reps are going to diminish now that we're combined. And so that happened to me as an 8th grader, because I love the game of football. If a kid loves the game of football, he's going to play high school football no matter what happens to him as an 8th grader. So he's going to continue to work. So I really wanted to make sure that message got out there this morning, if you can't tell how passionate I am about it, because I see how good this is going to be. And I hope everybody else gets that vision, because you haven't got to see us out on the field yet. But this is going to be something special.
Coach, with that being said, you had the negativity sometimes from the coming together. Let's look at it from the county perspective, because I know to think about Schaefer and Rucker coming together, or T.W. Hunter and Ellis coming together as one, because for the last umpteen years we've been playing with 2 different programs. How convincing was that per se to the rest of the coaches in the county? I know it was probably difficult. But, from the looking at it from their perspective, outside looking in, hey, we got 2 programs and now back to 1. Now we're going to turn our game up even more.
They weren't privy to what we were trying to do, because we knew they would try to squash it right off the bat.
Yeah,
Sure.
no doubt.
I knew that, but
So-
I did that for the listeners. Okay.
Yeah. The merge was all Coach Combs. Coach Combs wanted the merge to happen. For years, he and I have talked about it, and I said, Coach, when you're ready, pull the trigger. This, at the end of last football season, He said, Coach, I'm ready. I said, pull the trigger. Let me know what we need to do. He said, I'm going to start talking to people, talking to my administration. When I need you, I'll let you know. So Coach Combs did all the legwork on that.
Oh,
He
wow.
talked to his
Amazing.
admin. He talked to county admin, county athletic director, county commissioners, school board members. He did all that. He got everything lined up, ready to go. And then last minute, he brought me in so that he could prove that I was on board. And then we brought in our up until that time, our admin didn't even know anything was going down because we didn't want to start this process and try to let people into what we were trying to do and then all fall through.
Sure.
There was no point in upsetting the apple cart if it wasn't going to happen. So Combs went down the line of getting all the boxes checked, and to the point where it felt like, hey, we've got a possibility here. Then we brought in myself and West administration. We got it all approved, and at first they come back and said, no, we can't do it. It's not right. Other teams are going to want to do it, et cetera, et cetera. I say we, Combs, and they said no. A few weeks later, they came back. They found out TCAT was doing what it's doing.
Yeah, I was going to say that was a big.
There's not going to be a stitch of grass over here where the old practice field is. There's not going to be enough grass anywhere on this east campus to practice football. So when they figured that out and saw what was happening, they come back and they said, hey, that idea you had about joining the schools, that sounds like a great idea. But I think it's one of those things where the good Lord took care of it. If Combs hadn't went through all those steps to begin with, to put it in their ear, I don't know that they'd have ever thought when they realized what was happening with TCAT, I don't know that would have ever
They
clicked in
wouldn't
their
have figured it
brain
out,
of,
yeah.
hey, we could just join the schools together. We solved that problem.
And
Right.
this may be a permanent thing because the TCAP building is going behind the old building.
Right.
And then they're going to demolish the existing building
Build
and put
another one.
another
Yeah.
campus there. So,
I hope I'm not saying something on there that I shouldn't, but East Admin has walked around their campus to try to find somewhere where there's enough room to practice football. I mean, anybody that's been on the East
Sure.
Campus knows there's no place to practice football. Now, you could say the game field, but there's no high school coach in this county that's going to let a middle school coach on their game or practice on their game field day in and day out. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
not going to
tear it
happen.
up.
They won't let us play when it gets a sprinkle on it.
Yeah.
Now Portland High School does. Our high school coaches are great. They let us play on the field if it's wet, if it's rainy. They say if the high school team could play on it, the middle school team can play on it. That's what I
That's
love
what's-
about our coaches up here. But you got on the Gallatin, I ain't playing. If it sprinkles, Coach Stroop won't let nobody play on that field.
oh, wow.
He is a stickler about it. Crabtree at Beach was terrible about it back in the day, but now they've got turf, so you
Yeah.
can't use that anymore. But these high school coaches are not going to let you practice on their game field. So there's
Yeah.
nowhere for East to practice over here. So it just makes sense.
And with that being said, I know this is out of your control too. This is just off the record statement. There's nowhere to park over here now.
Yeah.
We're going to park everybody to come in to fill the
People
stand.
are going to be walking a lot farther, but
I got East, what's that? East Rigg Street over
Yeah.
there.
Going back to how that
That's so good, though.
that merger happened, like I said, I give Coach Combs a ton of the credit, if not all the credit, because he did all the legwork on it.
That's
you
so
know?
good.
When it was presented, now we get to when it's presented to all the other coaches in the county. Almost to a man, every one of them said that's good, that needed to happen.
Oh,
Because
wow.
they saw, I mean, when they see East or West rolling to town, most of them knew it's going to be a hard fought game, but we're going to win this game because we're superior to them athletically, right? We have more numbers, we have bigger size, we're just better than they are, and they knew it was going to be a win, but they knew it was going to be a competition. And I told them all this whenever I said, listen, I'm not. Now that we're joined together, let's be honest, we're probably not going to win every game, but instead of y'all beating us 50-0, now maybe it's 28-14, and you're playing your starters into the fourth quarter, and your kids are actually getting good quality reps against a good quality team. We have actually a real good football game instead of your starters blowing us out of the water and you got backups in the second quarter. And I really think, and it also for the county, for these bigger teams like Station Camp and Liberty Creek, it gave them another JV opponent because we're going to play JV games with our guys.
Oh, wow.
So
So
Station
good.
Camp, Liberty Creek, Ellis, they all have big enough teams that they can field a JV squad.
How cool
So
is
we
that?
got four JV games we're going to play this year.
They'll be
We'll
on
back up guys.
Wednesdays,
They're
right?
on Wednesdays, right? They're like scrimmage style. Go to the other team's practice field or come to our practice field, do like a scrimmage. But those kids are actually getting meaningful reps against another team instead of just practicing every day.
That helps your scheduling too, right? Because now you don't have an odd number of teams.
Correct.
Now
We
you
got
got
10
even.
now.
You don't have to worry about that non.
Yeah. How
I
many
don't know
times
if
have
you
we
say
talked?
region or district or
Yeah, how many times
whatever.
we talked about how terrible the scheduling is on
Yeah.
this program? You know, yeah, it's easy now.
So how's it broken down? Is it large, small, or
Big and little, yep.
Okay.
So your 5 big teams are Portland, Station Camp, White House, Knox Doss, Liberty Creek. Out of those 5, 2 of them will play for the big championship.
Okay.
So the best 2 of those 5 are going to play for the big championship, and obviously we'll have a big champion. On the little side, you got Hawkins, Ellis, Schaefer, Rucker, T.W. Hunter. 2 of those 5 will play for the little championship.
Okay.
We're not going to have a big versus little championship yet, but they said this is the first year we've done this. We're going to see how this works out,
Huh.
kind of see what it feels like, and then maybe 2 to 3 years down the road, we may look at adding in a big versus little championship. But our schedule, our calendar really confines us because we have to be done before fall break, and
Oh, okay.
TSSAA says we can't start before a certain date. So we're really pigeonholed into a 9-week
Yeah.
window,
Yeah.
and it's hard to in football. It's hard to get played 9 games in 9 weeks sometimes.
Yeah.
So we're pigeonholed into what we can and can't do. And
So you're doing 2 county championship
There'll
games?
be 2 county champions.
Wow.
Yes. Some of the coaches didn't like that. They're like, I don't want to be a champion out of 5 teams. I was like, I don't care if I'm a champion out of 2 teams. I want to be a champion, right? And that's why I tried to pitch those guys. I said, listen, now we're going to have 4 teams in championship games. That is 4 communities that can sit there and say our team was in a championship
Come
game.
on, now.
That's 4 communities that gather up around a football team. That's 4 different football teams that feel that success of playing a champ. We're doubling our number of, I don't even know what word to use, but just that goodwill, that good feeling
So good.
spread amongst communities. Instead of 2, now we got 4.
So where's the championship game going to be held at?
It's at the higher seed of each side. So whoever's the 1 seed in the big side will host the game. Whoever's the 1 seed on the little side will host the game. And it's on that last Tuesday before fall break. I want to say that's like October the 1st or something. I'd have to look at
Wow.
my calendar here.
That's cool information.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
No, September 29th, I think, is when it is.
Huh?
Did you know that?
Yeah, September
He's just trying to
29th.
figure their names out still.
I'm still trying to figure out
He's not
names.
worried about all that
I'm
stuff.
still trying to teach the defense here. I'm trying to implement
That's
stuff
so
here.
cool.
And that's why they paid me the big
I'm not
bucks, because I got to figure all that stuff out. All he's got to do is worry about figuring out whose name is who in the defense. I wonder I'm sorry if I'm stealing time for y'all to answer questions, but it's been drastically different for me because now we have 59 kids. We started with 65. We're down to 59 now. I'm used to the last 10 years we had 40s. Now we're up 60. I've got time and a half. I've got a team and a half,
Yeah.
right? I'm not a coach anymore. I'm a manager.
Mm.
I'm managing because with extra kids, you've got extra issues, you've got extra discipline, you've got extra medical things that have to be taken
Extra
care
equipment.
of, extra equipment, extra everything, right? So I am starting to be able to get to coach a little bit. Miguel's probably noticed that I'm actually getting to get in some drills and stuff. There's a lot of times when I'm walking around trying to take care of this, take care of that, but I've got 12 coaches beside myself. So it's me and 12 other guys, right? And those 12 other guys, I know that they can do, because I've told them, I've gave them the vision, I've gave them what we want to try to accomplish. Of course, Miguel already had the vision because it's his defense. But I can send them out to their groups, and I don't have to go check on them. And that frees me to check in with this group, check in with that group, go check on this kid who got a head injury a second ago, go over here and make sure this one is getting his discipline running in.
Check the wet bulb.
Go check the wet bulb because we're having to check on the temperature, and all, the wet bulb is the wet bulb psychrometer that tells us the heat stress reading on the kids' bodies. I have to do all those different things. So luckily, I've got this great staff of 12 men that I can send out and take care of football. So I'm a manager, and that's why, like, sometimes if you're watching our practice, it may look like I'm not really doing much. But I got a million different things going through my brain. I'm trying to check in here and there and coach some football at the same time.
Man,
So
You got players? He's got a player that he sets the alarm on his phone, and it buzzes. I don't know what it is.
every 30 minutes.
And he hollers out, "I gotta have a number." And the kid has to go get his phone and check his diabetes.
Blood sugar.
Yep. And he has to give him a number. And it can't just sit there. The kid can't just go, "Hey, it's whatever." He has to show. The kid has to show
I
him
have
the
to see
phone.
the number, and I have to know what, based off what the number is, what we need to do. There's times when it's okay, go back to work, or hey, we got to go eat something. And I got to walk down with that kid and make sure he's eating something, sitting down, all that kind of stuff. So there's things that has to happen, you know.
Things that people don't get to see.
Yeah.
So
Lot that goes on that we have to take care of. and that's what I take on, and then they just get to coach football and have fun.
Yeah, you're a better man than me. I delegate that responsibility. Now I'm gonna keep working on this. Second
Yeah.
coach, you go do this stuff here.
Well, I mean, I have to realize I get paid 12% to do what I do,
Right.
and those paid assistants they get 5%, and then the volunteers get nothing.
Right.
There might be a free hat or a T-shirt here or there. So if I'm going to get paid the big bucks, I need to do the jobs that the big bucks require. You know, I need to be the one pulling those things.
I love your mentality.
Let's turn into looking at this season. When did you get both teams combined, and then how long have you had them kind of working toward where they're at now?
So we started in February. I don't remember the exact date now off the top of my head, but it was somewhere in the teens of February. And the kids from East had to jump on a bus and ride over to our school every day, and our kids are over there in the locker room waiting. They show up, and you know, those first few days we had to do a lot of just here's this, here's that. You always have to because you only get them for 2 years, so you got a certain handful that understand everything, and then the rest don't have a clue. And you're relying on that certain handful to be leaders and disseminate information for you. But we had an even larger number of don't have a clue this year. Because you brought in all those kids from East and then trying to disseminate, I mean, just simple stuff like where's the bathroom? You know, how do I operate? Can I put a lock on my locker and stuff like that, trying to get all that information out. And then we started hitting the high school weight room. Portland High School has always been very gracious. Dr. Woods and the high school coaches, they've always been very gracious to let us use the weight room and the indoor facility. So we get to go over there and lift weights, use the indoor facility, and from there it's just about trying to build athletes.
And that's something that you have been able to do at West. East has not been able to do that.
Yes.
And so now the East kids are finally getting to have an off season because they didn't have a weight room. They didn't
Yeah.
have facility to go and do things, work on drills.
Just another point of like I said, those people that are in those let's keep them separated camp. Those kids from East are now getting to lift weights in the Portland High School weight room under a weight program where they're getting stronger, where they've never gotten that before. There's no weights in this weight room over here at the game field, so East has not lifted weights in
Holy cow, I
years.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In years, there's not been a weightlifting program. Now, Combs and them have done a good job of push-ups and set-ups and grabbing something that weighs something and try to push over. But you can't replicate laying down on a bench press and bench pressing, you know. And
I
when
didn't know that.
when the kids get over to the high school and, you know, our kids know how to power clean with proper form and know how to bench press, know how a weight room works. If you've ever been to a weight room, you know there's etiquette in the weight room of how you move and how you flow and how you're safe. And those are things that our kids are taught when they're in 6th grade. And they understand how that works, and it's huge for those kids. But yeah, it's been since February. From February all the way through July, we're in the weight room working.
So I don't know, you did this starting out, I don't know if you're still doing this, but something that you wanted to make sure so that they didn't feel separated. West kids don't go out on the field until East kids gets there and they're ready to go.
Right.
So you don't say, okay, y'all just go ahead and get out there, blah, 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 blah. You don't do anything until everybody is together.
Right.
And go out as one team.
Their team.
I like that.
Yeah.
Our school dismisses at 2:55. Their school dismisses at 2:50. So around 2:50, they get on a bus and come across town. They're usually there by 2:59, 3:01, somewhere in that range. I try my very best every day to be standing at the back door as they come in, fist bumping them as they come in. There's some days I miss, but especially those first couple of weeks, there wasn't nothing that's going to keep me from standing at that back door and fist bumping those kids as they come in, because I wanted them to feel like they were welcome.
Right.
I had that door open. Hey, how's it? Calling them by name. Hey, sir, how's it going? Hey, Colt, how's it going? Hey, Hunter Cole, you had a great day at school today. And calling them in. Hey, and playing jokes with them. Hey, you get better looking every day. Or hey, did anybody steal
They
your girl?
say that to you,
Yeah,
or you
exactly.
say that to them?
Both, yes. They return. You too, coach. Did you find a girlfriend today? Just trying to build those relationships with those kids, because that's where it's got to start.
Yeah.
If you can't build relationships with kids, you can't work with kids. It's just that simple.
That's right.
And so that was purposeful. And while it may sound as if that was some sort of me being phony, I wasn't being phony, but it was also purposeful. Sometimes if you do something on purpose, it sounds like it's planned out and it's phony, and it wasn't heartfelt. It wasn't phony at all. It was purposeful. But I knew I needed to do that with those kids, because you know how kids are. They're going to gravitate to some other kids in the room, but a lot of times they don't ever get an adult saying, "Hey, welcome. Hey, I'm glad you're here," type of stuff. So, and then when they got in our locker room, our kids are waiting for them. And I told the boys from West, I'm like, "Hey, listen, when they get in here, talk to the guys." I purposely scattered them throughout the locker room. I didn't put all the East kids in one row and all the West. They're scattered all throughout. And then so when they went and sat down at their locker, there might be a West kid or an East kid on either side of them. So I told them, hey, when y'all sit down, y'all got to talk. In those first few weeks, there was a prompt on the screen that said, turn to the guy on your right and ask him this question. Turn to the guy on your left and ask him this question. So they were talking to each other. So I gave them those opportunities to get to know each other a little bit. So again, that's my structure and things that people don't see, of just trying to get these guys to come together and build that team camaraderie and unity, because it was necessary. And it's going to be necessary every year, because these kids from East don't know the kids from West. So we're going to have to recreate that every single year.
Right.
I'm going to have to be intentional about it.
So going into spring ball, you're implementing a new defense, and then I don't know if your offense has changed or anything like that. Go into, you have one spring game against Station Camp.
Correct.
And I was standing there. I still don't know who played. Well,
I'm beginning to worry about your.
I was just there to help. I was there to help.
Hey, just a consultant.
I was a
Up
consultant.
until last week, it was always y'all can do this and y'all can do that. I'm like, Miguel, you're a part of this coaching. No, I'm just a consultant. I'm just a consultant. I'm like,
I'm just trying to help you.
as far as I'm concerned, you're a part of this coaching staff, whether you want to believe it or not.
That's fine.
So going through spring ball, and kind of how did you, or what did you see, and what did you think after coming out of that spring game about where the kids were at to where you wanted them to be?
You could tell the kids were thinking, because they weren't playing as fast as I knew they were capable of, especially on the defensive side. There was a lot of thinking, and when there's a lot of thinking as an athlete, your reaction time slow down, your speed in general slows down. Things that you can do well in isolation, you can't do in a large group. It's just all those things. So that's what I saw in the spring scrimmage was, we were thinking way too much. Now that processing has sped up way faster. They're playing as we saw in the Rutgers scrimmage. They're moving along a lot faster. They're making plays at high tempo, and it's been a night and day difference defensively since the spring. Offensively, we changed the formations 180 degrees after the spring. Went back to what I'm more accustomed to as a coach, double wing, and then mix in some eye so that we can be a power team if we need to, because that's what fits our personality. Our personality as a team is smash mouth. So we're gonna get in eye and we're gonna smash you a little bit, and we're gonna get in a double wing and counter you and run you outside and come back to that eye and smash you a little bit more. So I saw the same thing offensively in the spring. They were thinking too much. It didn't fit our the offense we were trying to run didn't fit our personnel. So we made the adjustments that we need to make on offense and defense. Personnel adjustments, scheme adjustments, and now I think we're far better for it. We're still tinkering with personnel right now. I mean, we did it, like I said a minute ago, just the other day with Hunter Allen, moved from outside back to defensive end. And we're still tinkering with the scheme. Miguel and I were talking the other day about, instead of running a 4-man front, let's run a 3-man front and see what that, that might be good against some teams. So we can be multiple in our defensive fronts and our offense.
Speaking about other teams, it seems like in the last several years, how can I say this? Like the talent level has went down the middle. It's coming down to middle school, because years ago, you may see one team that can throw the ball around pretty good. Now it seems like almost every team you go up against has a quarterback that you're thinking, is he really 8th grade?
Yeah.
How does that change things? I mean, adjusting to that's got to be kind of tough, knowing that you're going to get those little prodigy athletes.
Right.
It seems like in 8th grade now instead of in the high school.
It's why I decided to adopt Coach Miguel's defense. For years, our defense has been a 5-3. Before that, it was a 4-3. And the 5-3 and the 4-3 are great if you're playing White House. They're going to line up in the eye and they're going to try to run downhill at you. But in that defense and the personnel that we use in that defense, you don't have the personnel to adjust if a team wants to go 3 wide, 4 wide, 5 wide. Miguel's 4-2-5, very similar to what we were doing. It's just the personnel changed and the assignments changed just a tad bit. But now we've got the personnel to match up with 3 wide, 4 wide, 5 wide teams, and still play against teams that want to line up in the eye and try to smash you in the mouth. It's just it's a more conducive defense for that. Coach Perry went through the same thing. My senior year, we're a wide tackle 6 on defense.
Okay.
Memphis Melrose comes into town, second round in the playoffs. Memphis Melrose is running 2x2, 3x1, all these different
With
spread
the golden
formations,
shoes.
right? With the golden shoes.
Come on.
In a wide tackle 6, I was defensive end. I was 6'3", 190 pounds, soaking wet, and not as athletic as I needed to be to try to cover one of their slot receivers man coverage. But I had to try to do it in the wide tackle 6, right? Coach Perry saw it, changed defenses after that, and I don't remember what he went to the next year, but he went to a different defense the next year. Somebody that played in '97 can probably tell me, but they saw it coming, and it's taken that long to kind of trickle down to the middle school level now. Like you said, before now there's been 1 or 2 teams a year that might do it. Now everybody's doing it. The only team on the schedule that's not going to be like a shotgun, spread them out type of team is White House, and even White House is doing it now. White House is running the wing T. They were running the wing T last year. They had double wings, motion, jet sweep, but then they also got in the eye sometimes too.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So everybody, we're the only ones left. We're the only dinosaurs left out there that are going to line up in the wing T, line up in the eye, and that's because of me. I'm the dinosaur of the head coaches. I tell them all the time, I'm like, hey guys, I'm a dinosaur. I'm going to do what I do. And we were scrimmaging Rutgers Stewart, and one of their kids said, gosh, y'all run the ball every play. He said, y'all run it like 20 times in a row, but y'all are good at it. Y'all are kicking our butts. I wanted to turn around and say, that's what we do. But I just, I heard him say that and walked on off. But it's, for fans.
What's that like now? You used to be the youngster. Of the group.
I hadn't been the youngster in a long time.
Now you're
There's so much turnover, but yeah. No, I mean, I feel like, and I hope those guys respect me because I've been in it as long as I have. So I know when I came in, and Randall Mash had been at White House for 30 years, and Don Curry and Buddy Fry had been at Portland for 30 years. I respected them, even though I didn't always agree with every single thing that they did, and I didn't think all their ways were the best ways ever. I respected them because you can't do something for 20 plus years and not be halfway decent at it.
Yeah.
So I hope they respect me and take my opinion with a little bit of weight, but then I hope that they hate playing against me. That's your number one hope. I don't want them to like playing against us.
So what's the second longest tenured coach in your conference now?
Probably Darren Thomas at Station Camp. Thomas came in 2015 or 16. I know we were building our house. I think it was 2015 when he came in. I remember he came in because I was talking to him on the phone while I was doing electrical work in my bedroom. That memory's just stuck in my brain. I'm sitting there trying to change plugs or put plugs in my bedroom at our new house, and I was talking to him on the phone because he was a first-year coach. That was 2015.
So going through summer workouts, you get to, again, bring the East kids over. They get to use the weight room, and they get to use the indoor. You start working on drills and stuff to better, help them out to be more successful. How would you say the scrimmage went with Rucker this past, was a week ago?
Yeah.
Last Friday?
Last Friday.
How did that go? And that's going to be the only scrimmage you have for preseason.
Yeah.
Everything. How would you sit there and tell fans if they didn't show up how that went?
It went well. We had the varsity on one end of the practice field. We had a JV on the other. So, and what's cool about that is we had like 30 kids up here on the varsity end, and they had like 30 kids on the JV end. And so we got 60 kids out there for Portland all working at the same time. So lots of reps to go around. And then not only did we have 30 kids on each end, I had 4 coaches down on the JV end, and then I had 8 coaches down on the varsity end. So everybody got coached, everybody got looked at, eyes were on everybody. It was really nice to have the numbers that we had to be able to get the work that we got. In the varsity session, we had starters and then we had backups, 1s and 2s with the varsity. 1s versus 1s. We scored 4 times, they scored twice. To me, that's a win. You don't necessarily keep score in a scrimmage, but we kept score to see what it felt like. And we won. We moved the ball consistently. We had 1 play for negative yardage out of all the plays with the varsity. Rutgers Stewart had multiple plays for negative yardage. And they had plays, obviously, that scored twice with the starters. But we did a really good job of, we kind of held them. We forced them over on downs a couple times. And they popped a couple big ones on us and got scores. And then when the backups came in, they scored 3 times and we scored once. We still scored once though, and he left a lot of his first guys in.
It wasn't true
when he brought his backups in. We wholesaled. I mean, and when I say wholesale, we're trying to platoon this thing. We're trying to have kids be offensive starters and not start on defense.
Yeah.
Have kids be defensive starters and not start on offense.
Mhm.
There's a few spaces where we can't do that, but for the I think we've got, last I counted, it's either 8 or 9 unique starters on offense and defense, and only like 2 or 3 guys that are going to have to start on both sides, which is
Unspoken
in middle school.
Yeah,
Even in high school, sometimes you don't
Oh, yeah.
get that, right?
that's right.
So, and that's not like we're not dropping off. Now, obviously, the best guy is the best guy for a reason, and the next guy is the next guy for a reason. He's going to be a little lower, but there's this thing that I like to talk about: is he detrimental? And if he's not detrimental, if he's not gonna cause your football team a detriment, he can play, right? So this top guy that starts on offense, we can get him on the sideline for the first play or two of defense, and have a guy in there that's going to hold his own, and now we can bring our hired guns in
On that third down.
on
play.
third down to make a play, right? Or when the situation calls for it, it's 4th and inches, or they've got the ball inside the 10 and we got to stop them. They
So
can't
good.
score. So that's why I've been telling all the defensive coaches, like, know who your hired guns are. And when you know who your hired gun is, when the situation comes, get his butt on the field. I don't care if he plays offense or not, get him out there. Same way on offense. Know who your hired guns are. When time comes, get them out there. You see, I don't like rotating on offense. I'm a continuity guy. Offense is all about continuity. So I want the kids to feel comfortable with each other and the scheme and everything else. I want to try to be as steady as I can on offense. Defense, I don't care how many ball players I put out there, how many bodies I put on the field, because defense is all about doing your assignment and getting to the ball. So it's about being fresh, it's about being physical, it's about getting there, and you can't do that if you're tired. So offense, let's be continuity. Defense, let's get to the ball. It's my philosophy. Miguel, I forgot what your question was. I'm sorry, I was trying to circle back to
Oh,
it.
that's kind of cool because
Just
in
sum it up.
baseball, defense is the continuity.
Uh-huh.
So it's just like
Batting, you're looking for the hot
batting.
hand.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's cool that it's like flipped like.
And I'm sure different coaches have different philosophy. That's
Yeah.
my philosophy.
Well, my philosophy is I want my best defenders on the field
Yeah.
at all times.
And that
In
makes sense.
baseball,
Yeah.
because it's baseball. not
Right.
football.
Just kind of a synopsis of the
The scrimmage, that's right.
scrimmage.
So, like I said, starters versus starters, we won that scrimmage and did well. Our kids looked tremendously better from the spring. I asked a few of them, do you feel better than you did in the spring? Like, oh, yeah, Coach, I feel a lot better now. I understand what we're doing and stuff. So we're moving in the right direction.
Going into, you got the schedule, kind of go over the schedule, if you don't mind, and then we'll kind of go into a pregame of Ellis, or what you think you'll be seeing from Ellis.
So week 1, we got Ellis at home. It's at 7 o'clock, August the 4th, right here beside us at Memorial Field. Then we go down to T.W. Hunter the next Tuesday. That's August the 11th. All the rest of the games are at 6 o'clock. Then we got Schaefer at home, Memorial Field on August the 18th. August the 25th, we'll go down to Hawkins. We're going to play at Hawkins. That's at Hendersonville High School Stadium. And those first 4 weeks are non-division games. Obviously, we want to win them. But if we do lose those, it doesn't affect our chance of playing in the championship. I mean, there's a real possibility that we can get some wins under our belt going through those first 4 weeks. I'm not trying to discount anybody, but we have a good football team. Again, I haven't done this for 20-something years. I know what a good football team looks like. Now, I don't know what all these other teams in the county look like. There may be some stacked teams. But I know, just looking at our team across the board, we have depth at every position. We have quality players at every position. We can win football games. So I'm hoping we get through that first 4 weeks with 2 wins, 3 wins, 4 wins. You know, those are the goals. After that, we go into divisional play. September the 1st, we're at Knox Doss. That's down at Beach Stadium, which will be our second trip to Beach Stadium. So it's be cool. We can go down there and play on the
So they don't
Turf.
play. They don't play at the Hendersonville field.
no, Knox Doss. Knox Doss used to split their kids between Station Camp and Beach, so they split their home games between Station Camp and Beach back in the day. They played 2 home games at Station Camp and 2 home games at Beach. Now all their kids go to Beach, so all their home games are at Beach. After that, on September the 8th, we got Station Camp at home, which will be a big one. Obviously, they came up here and put a little bit of a beating on us in the spring, so we want to repay that favor for them. September the 15th, we're at Liberty Creek. Liberty Creek obviously lost their head coach last year, and that was to our benefit because Coach Dupree's over at the high school now. So Liberty Creek's got a new coach down there at Liberty Creek Middle. And then September 22nd, last game of the year. Of course, the last game of the year used to be East versus West. Now it's Portland versus White House. Week 8 at Portland.
Yeah.
And high chance that it could be a situation where we win the game, we're going to the championship. We lose the game, we're not. So that would be, how awesome would that be to be playing White House on September the 22nd, late in the fall, for a chance to go to a championship game at Memorial Field.
And it could be because you're playing big school, little school. These are your big school
Right.
opponents, correct?
Mhm.
So let's just say, hypothetically, the winner loser of this game could be playing each other again the following week in the championship.
Potentially, yeah. You could be playing that team week 8 and then turn around and play them week 9
It could be
for
for
the
home field
championship.
advantage.
Could be for home field advantage, correct. So yeah, I mean, there could be some really cool scenarios, and even to say White House wasn't that great, you may still have to win that game to get a chance to go because you need that last win or something. So,
Yeah.
Or even cooler, put them out.
yeah, or put them
They
out.
win,
Correct.
they
That'd
go.
be icing on the
Yeah,
cake.
put you home field.
We're
you want
already
them
talking
out.
trash.
Us versus them
Come
to
on.
get there, icing on the cake if we win, right? And so, I mean, from 2009 till 2025, that East-West game was special. Don't get me wrong, but being able to take all the middle school age football players in Portland to White House, or to Portland in this case because we're at home, and play White House as a rivalry, because we left that rivalry week intact. Every team in the county plays their rival week 8. Schaefer plays Rucker, Ellis
How
plays
cool is
Hawkins.
That's so
Beach,
good. Good scheduling, man.
T.W. Hunter plays Knox Doss because they're like East and West now, right? And then Station Camp plays Liberty Creek because they're kind of the two new schools. So
It's nice that you was able to have a White House Portland game
Yeah.
to keep that
to
rivalry.
have that rivalry still
Yeah.
there.
What I think is so cool is you're playing White House from the varsity level, when I'm talking about high school level,
Yeah.
game one,
Game 1.
and you're playing middle school game 8.
Eight, yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Which will be shortly after game 1 for the high school because we
Yes.
start so early.
That's right.
But yeah, that's how the schedule lines out. Again, I've talked about it on the show before. I'm the one that makes the schedule, so I think it's a great schedule. But it is awesome. It is awesome how it worked out where we got non-division games for the first 4 weeks and then division games for the last 4. So you got those first 4 weeks to kind of work the kinks out a little bit.
Sure.
Going into the season, looking at, well, you say we got JV games now.
Mhm.
They will be played on Wednesdays. Do you have the JV schedule?
I do. I just finalized that yesterday. We do have 2 open dates still right now. I'm trying to fill them, but I don't know that they'll get filled. We're not going to play a JV game against Ellis this first week because of registration nights. So no JV game week 1. August 12th I have open. Nobody to play there. Anybody out there that's got a JV middle school football team, I'm open on August the 12th. I'm also open on August the 19th. So we do not have JV games August 12th, August 19th. Our parents haven't gotten the schedule yet, so parents, you're going to get this next week. August the 26th is our first JV game. It's going to be at
So
Ellis.
this is breaking news.
It's breaking news, right? Schedule reveal. August 26th, we go to Ellis, play down there at Ellis's practice field in front of the dome in Hendersonville at 4 o'clock. September the 2nd, we're going to go to Station Camp, play them on their practice field down there at Station Camp at 4 o'clock. September the 9th, Station Camp's going to come to us. So we're going to play Station Camp back-to-back JV. That's on our practice field at 4 o'clock. And then September the 16th, we got Liberty Creek on our practice field at 4 o'clock. I would love to have more JV games, but Schaefer's got 25 kids right now. Knox Doss has 23 kids right now.
Wow.
White House said they ain't doing JV. Didn't give me a reason. Hawkins said they're not ready for JV yet. He's second-year head coach. And, somebody else, I can't remember. Everybody else told me no. Long story short, Ellis, Station Camp, and Liberty Creek and Rucker are the only 4 teams in Portland. We're the 5 teams that are playing JV games in the county. I don't have an open date that matches Rucker's open dates, so I can't play Rucker.
Right.
So that's why we doubled up on Station Camp, because they had an open date that matched ours. So okay, let's play back to back. That's fine. I asked every other team in the county. They all said no. We don't want to play. So I would love to have 6 JV games, but at the moment we only have 4. We thought about reaching out to East Robertson or maybe Greenbrier or somebody like that. Maybe even reaching out to Westmoreland, but I don't have a lot of connections with those coaches because we do everything in county now.
Right.
And so we're going to try to find numbers and reach out, but we may not be able to fill those dates.
Do you think on your JV games you'll be able to get in some sixth graders and let them have some reps? On
So
the
sixth
JV
graders,
portion?
can't play middle school football in Sumner
Okay.
County.
At all.
They're not allowed to be on the team or
Okay, so
nothing.
they
Right?
can't
They can be
do that.
managers, but that's
Right,
it.
right.
But yeah, there'll be a ton of seventh graders that play
Mhm.
in that. Yeah, but the sixth graders are still playing PYFL, so I'm hoping they're playing that full PYFL slate, playoffs, Super Bowls, all that stuff. Because our seventh grade group we got right now won the Super Bowl last year in PYFL, and our seventh grade group they're strong.
That's right.
They're strong. We got my starting left guard is from Portland East.
Mhm.
Played on that PYFL team last year. Zach Schaefer. He's a good football player, great offensive lineman. Going to start at defensive end and left guard, and he's a seventh grader.
Mm.
Good looking kid.
Good deal.
Looking at Ellis coming in, what are you looking at them as offensively that they're going to do, and defensively that they're going to do?
Well, offensively, they are a shotgun team. Shocker. We just talked about how all these teams are shotgun teams. They got 2 split ends, 5 linemen. They've been a shotgun most of the time. They'll have a back on either side of the quarterback and a back behind the quarterback, what I like to call the diamond gun. So 3 backs surrounding the quarterback, shotgun, 2 receivers each side. They don't really throw the ball a ton to those receivers on the outside. They throw more to their backs. They're going to swing their backs out of the backfield, throw to them out on swing routes and flat routes. They don't necessarily run the ball a lot on the edges. It's mainly trying to run inside between the tackles. If it's an edge run, it's like a quarterback keep, where the quarterback fakes and then keeps it out the backside or front side. They will get under center and run a stovepipe, meaning they're under center and there's 3 backs behind the quarterback. And then they're running downhill, trying to run straight at you. They do have a toss out of that, and then they'll swing those backs out to the flats and the bubbles as well from there. But from what we've seen on scrimmage film, they're pretty. I don't want to say they're standard. I mean, they're good at what they do, but there's not a lot of variation in their formations. There's not a lot of variation in their plays. They're kind of doing the same thing over and over again, which is why they're good at what they do, because they did the same thing over and over again. This is going to be a tough stop to try to stop them offensively. They got a really good back, big kid, fast. That's their deep back. Well, their line is big. Their coach said they averaged, I think he said 5'10", 180, I think is what they average on their offensive line. So they got good size up there. And then they catch the ball well. So they've got a formidable offense. Their defense, we've yet to name it. Miguel says it's a 3-4. Coach Pasquarella says it's a 3-3-5. I say it's a 5-2 with a walk down strong safety. They've got 3 down. They've got 3 downed defensive linemen that are shaded on our center and our tackles. So if our strength is to our left, they're shaded to the left side of our tackle and our center. If our strength is to our right, they're shaded to the right side of our tackle and our center. But they got 3 down linemen down there. And then there's 2 linebackers behind them. There's overhang edge players at what I'd call a defensive end. Safety and 2 corners. And then the 11th guy is what I call it, like a rover safety, a bandit, some people call it. And he can walk down in the box anywhere, everywhere, and blitz or stay at linebacker depth. So that's why it kind of looks like a 3-3-5, because it looks like they have 3 linebackers, but I think that extra guy is a safety that's walked down. That's why Miguel's calling it a 3-4. So essentially, you're going to have 5 men on the line of scrimmage, 3 guys in the linebacker box, and you're going to have 3 defensive backs over the top. It looks like they're playing man coverage with their defensive backs. They're blitzing the crap out of their linebackers. They're bringing at least 1, if not 2 linebackers every time. Have you seen them bring 3 linebackers?
Usually the 2 in the middle and 1 on the outside.
They'll bring them all.
Yeah.
Okay, they don't bring them all a lot, but they will. And then their defensive lineman, their nose tackle that's over our center, he's just a bull in a china shop. He's going to rush forward and try to just mess stuff up every play. Those blitzing linebackers cause a little bit of problem. But now Coach Miguel's done a really good job all week in practice of replicating that. I told Miguel, I was like, watch 2 or 3 series of their defense, get their vibe, and then make our guys do it on the practice field. Here's the beautiful part, though. We're running our starting offense. He's got 9 of his starting defenders over there running the scout team defense against us. So we're going good on good. And I talked to Miguel about it yesterday. I feel like that scout team defense is at least as good, if not better, than the defense that we're going to see Tuesday night against Ellis. And that's no knock on Ellis. I mean, we've got a good defense over there that we're going against. And they're making life hard on us. They're making life hard on the offense. So much so, I told one of our offensive coaches, Eddie, yesterday, I told Eddie, I said, we probably need to have about a 10 or 15 minute period every week where we let our varsity offense go up against our JV defense just to get some good feels.
Oh.
Like we need some confidence because that scout team defense is wreaking havoc on our offense. It's not saying we're not moving the ball; we're getting yardage here and there, but it's like a game night. You know, it's 3-4 yards, tough sledding.
It
So-
reminds me a lot of the '86 Bears because Dick and Buddy Ryan didn't like each other
Right.
anyway.
And they just
And
mad at
they,
it in
and they
practice.
just killed each other at practice.
Yeah.
And Dick told the offense one time, said, "Listen, it's okay. We're not going to run against a defense like you."
Right.
So it's this similarity here.
Right. You know, Coach
It's
Pasquarelli.
46 defense.
Coach Pasquarelli says all the time, he's like, practice is supposed to be hard, and it is. It's difficult.
No doubt, it's good for you.
But we've never had at East or West, we've never had this problem because the scout team was guys find us 11 that can get over and at least get in the right spot and give us something. And you might have 1 or 2 guys over there that give you something, and the rest of them are just warm bodies over there. And our offense is going 10, 15, 20 yards every play, and it looks easy.
Yeah.
And then you get to game night, and that don't happen. You're like,
Get punched in the mouth right out
what's
of the gate.
happening?
Yeah.
Why don't we look as good as we looked on the practice? Well, the guys we practice against on the practice field were our backups that never see the field.
Sure.
So why should we expect our game field action to look like our practice field action when we're not going up against guys that don't need to be
That's
on the
just
field?
gonna make you better and tougher getting punched in the mouth in practice.
So
And that's
now-
so good that you got the 11 versus the true 11.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The numbers make it
It's
difference.
close.
It's close, yeah.
And then what you do on the scout team, you know, is you coach. You don't sit there and go, "Hey, this is Ellis's defense,"
Right.
and just do whatever. You're still coaching them to sit there, their techniques.
Our technique, what Portland Middle
What we're
School
gonna-
does, I'm
what
gonna
we're
say
going to
West.
do, you still have to do.
Yeah.
And
We're,
so-
we're running our techniques, but where they align.
Yeah.
So, you know, they align on the center, we align on the guard. But hey, Bubba, you're going to be on the center, but you're going to do exactly what you do in our defense.
Sure.
Put your hands on him here, do this, do that. So they're getting reps in our defense while they're showing us Ellis's defense. And now, I've got Miguel over there. I've got Coach Dixon over there coaching inside backers. I've got Coach Eddie coaching outside backers. I've got Coach Crabtree coaching D-line. I've got Coach Tyler and Totten over there coaching DBs. I've got my full defensive staff over there coaching my scout defense on our techniques in their alignment. And I've got my offensive staff over here coaching our offense and our guy. We're getting coached constantly,
Yeah.
getting reps constantly. And I hope that it's visible to us as coaches. We've seen it from the spring till now. I hope when people come watch us, they see a well-coached team. They see a team that wants to compete and wants to just stay after somebody's butt all night long. That's what we got to
Exactly.
do. And we got to look like we're well coached, and we got to stay after people, and we're going to win football games.
So that's exciting.
So you're gonna do it, ain't you? You show up. See, you're excited. Come on.
Well, I'm going to ask Miguel. Don't have to be excited. He just got called the defense.
Well, I'm talking about Kyle helping out in the
Oh, Kyle,
broadcast.
As I jumped
I thought you were
ship
talking
late.
to Miguel.
I jumped ship late, so
Yeah, Kyle.
I was
We
supposed to
need
be. I was supposed to be doing broadcasting with
Somebody's
Coach
got to push
Thayer
the button
and
while I
Rob.
go to the bathroom. Come on, give me a break.
That's right.
So I switched
Oh, wow.
booths. I went from the left booth to the right booth.
Yeah.
So they're trying to find a third guy for the broadcasting.
Yeah, Miguel's been a consultant helping us out since February. Every day.
Well, I have been.
I told him.
He
I
asked me
said,
wanted to put it in. I said, yeah, we'll put it in. And
Come on.
like our relationship is so. You know, I get coaches.
dysfunctional.
I get coaches that
With the
come
fun
up.
and
You know,
dysfunctional.
I get coaches come up to practice. Well, man, I wish I had your power. What are you talking about? Well, you get to do. You come in, you show up 5 minutes before defense shows up. You do defense, then you leave. You know. I said, well, that's 20 years of me and him banging heads and texting back and forth for all night long.
20 years.
You know, and he brought me in 2008,
Yeah.
and I've been getting free clothes since 2008.
I didn't bring you in. You asked if you could coach, and then I
So-
met with you, and then I decided you were a good fit. I had nothing to do with that. That was all you. And I mean, I'm not saying that as a knock. I'm saying that as like Miguel found me. I didn't find him, and I've been blessed for it for 20-something years. Because like I said, Miguel's taught me more about defense than anybody. And
But it's like
even when he wasn't coaching with us, I was consulting with him
Yeah.
over the years. Like, what about this? What about that? I like this. I like that.
Yeah.
Of course, back in the day when he wasn't on the staff and I didn't have to face him every day, I could kind of change it and make it the way I wanted it. Now I got to face him every day, so I can't make those changes because then he gives me the look, and I have to really argue with him to get my way.
it just we'll sit there because he's offensive minded, and
Yeah.
I'm defensive minded. Okay, it's like what is it? The Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean, they don't meet, they don't mesh.
Right.
You know, you see that, and that's kind of how we are. He'll come up with something, and he'll try to explain it to me, and I'll go, no, that's just, they won't be good.
Yeah.
And we'll go 2 or 3 days through text and face-to-face conversations, drawing it on the board, and then finally we come back and we go, yeah, that's exactly what we want. Well, that's what we said in the first
Yeah,
place.
I'll say that's what I said in the first
And it
place.
was just-
And
it was
he'll say-
terminology. It's
he'll say
terminology.
you presented it wrong.
And
And that's what happened.
Said it in a different language.
So the other day he came up and goes, "Hey, what do you think about running a 3-5-3?" I said, "No, I don't want to. You know, I'm out. If we do that, I'm out."
Yeah.
Okay.
He said, "I'll go back to the booth." Broadcasting.
And so we was doing Ellis's defense, and we had a break, and I went to sit down, and he goes, "What you think about that?" I said, "Well, I don't mind that. You know, we can do that." He goes, "Well, that's what I, you know." I
That's
said, "We
exactly
can-
what I wanted to
said,
do.
We could run a 3-3-5 stack, and that's what we did at the high school the last 3 years. It was our nickel package. I said, we can do this guy, pull this guy out, pull this guy in, and this way he goes, "Well, that's exactly what I said the other day." I said, "You didn't present it right. You had the terminology. It didn't sound right in my head." So
Just
and
for
but
now,
that's-
do pictures like. Just
we
talk,
have.
just
I don't know how many times we said,
Draw,
hey,
draw the pictures and
you,
send it to me.
hey, you got a second? I'll go, yeah. And he'll go, "What do you think about this?" And I'll grab a scrap piece of paper and I'll start drawing stuff down.
Because he'll say it, and I say, "Draw it."
And he'll go, "Yeah," or I'll say something. He goes, "You just draw it." And then I take a picture and I send it to him. He goes, "No, that's not what I'm looking at." I was, "Well, then you tell me." And he draws something, and that's how. I mean, it's 20 years.
We know how to
we've done this.
communicate. Yeah.
We've been doing this for 18 years. I
Well,
guess.
pictures don't lie. by the
So-
way.
And there's times where I have to, as the head coach, say, "Miguel, this is what we're gonna do," and even though he may not like it, he'll do it. But I realize he's a lot smarter than I am defensively. I need the evidence. I need the reasoning behind it. He's got to support his case. But when he supports his case and it makes sense, I'm like, "You're right. Do it."
Yeah, that makes
you know?
perfectly good sense. One thing is you're a good coach, so you're always open.
Yeah.
Like, but you're gonna have to convince me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the baseball thing where the catcher is now grabbing the dirt,
Yeah.
pulling it up. It's funny how so many people try to convince me of that. Now they're all coming back around saying that's stupid, isn't it? I said, "I told you this 5 years ago when it first came out. You're just more glove movement. That's what. At least you're open enough to listen.
Yeah.
And that's important. Is
Yeah.
to stay open.
But it's just like I know what his response is going to be. So that's why I'm trying to tell some coaches. You know, I would never sit there and do that in practice. He'd get so mad. I said, "You just got to do it and let him get mad."
Like I'm the big
And
bad
it's
wolf.
going to be okay, you know. And I said, "There's times."
He's not gonna pull out a gun.
Yeah. I mean, so I kind of understand how he's going to. I said, just like the other day, it was let's see, Thursday. We went to team, and I said, "Hey guys,
I
just,"
already know what he's fixing to say.
I said, "just thud up, okay? Don't take him to the ground." And everybody's like, what are you talking about?" I said, "Just go and hit him, wrap up, and then just let him go."
Right.
I said,
Miguel's trying to save wear and tear on our bodies, on
Yeah,
our running
I know.
backs,
I watch
right?
these guys get torn, taken down, and middle school don't tackle great. Okay, you're just hoping to get them on the ground.
Yeah.
But
Any way you
I'm
can.
seeing things. And God, I just hate to see this kid all of a sudden get an ankle turned or a knee tweaked or something like that. And they just thud up. So I told the
I had
defense
no
that.
idea, by the way. I didn't know he told the defense this.
So we had a linebacker go up, and he comes up and just kind of taps him on the shoulder and runs by him. Run back and he's like, "Give me 5 up down. You got to sit there and do that."
I mean, what in the world are you
Break
doing?
down.
Why are you just running by him? Hit the ground 5 times. You know, I'm trying to instill some discipline there. Miguel's like, Coach, that's my fault."
That's me, man.
Give me 5, Coach.
Oh, man, I hit ground once. I ain't getting up.
I told the kid, I'm like, "I'm sorry, I didn't know Coach had told you that. You're good." He said, "No, Coach, I'll still hit it 5 times." Like, "Okay, if that's what you want to do, have it." I said, "But just so you know, I'm sorry, I didn't know Coach had told you that, and I apologize."
And so yesterday we get into team again, and Coach turns around and goes, "Are you thudding today?" I said, "As long as I can." And I told another coach sitting next to me, I said, "You watch, we get in against Ellis, and so we don't tackle good, they'll come back to me and go,
It's
we'll
your
never
fault."
thud again."
Yeah.
We'll tackle the ground. But that's just kind of how we go. You know,
Yeah.
it's just it's been fun. Like I said, I've always been around. He's always asked advice. I'll give advice, and he'll sit there and go, "Hey, I think we can do this. What do you think?" Or, "Hey, this team does this. What do you think?" "Here's what I think." And then
It is
you
good
do
to be
what
able
you
to,
do, and
and
go from there.
understand your head coach. It's like me and Coach Aaron. There's many times in a game said, "Do you want to call the pitches?" I can.
Yeah.
If you need me to, but let's stay true to what I'm wanting. But yeah, that's pretty cool.
But he does his offense, and You know, I'll do defense to what he lets me have. It's like the other day, again, one more example, and we'll finish this. I was sitting there telling kids, I said, look, guys, I said, he's talking about his offense, how he tags words and everything. That's how our defense is ran. We tag something, so our defensive linemen have 5 tags. That's all they have to know is 5 things. And then our linebackers have about 5 things, and then our outside linebackers have 3 or 4 things. But through that
DB's got 2.
and then the DBs have 2. So through all that combination, just the front 6, the 4 down linemen and the 2 linebackers, or I guess the front 8 with the 2 outside linebackers. So out of all that, we have a combination. And actually, I counted again because I added something the other day, which Coach I don't know yet, but I did add. And it's the same thing that we've done before. It's just I've tagged it now. We have close to 40 calls on defense. And I told the kids, you got 40 calls. We can sit there, a combination of 40 calls. I said,
But the
you
beauty,
only have to know
yeah,
5
exactly. That's the beauty of it.
You have to know 6 things. That's it.
Yeah.
And Coach had Coach go over to me. He goes, "You're not taking all those calls into the game, are you?" I said, "No." I'll sit there, and the way I do it, I'll sit there and I'll watch and see what they run, and I'll go, okay, I think these 3 or 4 calls are good against what that is going to be, and these 2 or 3 things. And so, you know, you take what I've learned at the high school level, and you bring it downhill here, and it's still the same concept. Okay, the kid's just not as fast, or the kid is not as powerful, but it's still the same. It's football. It's still X's and O's, and are you doing it? It's a guessing game. I feel he's going to do this, just like Coach on offense. I think defensively they're going to do this. I think this play was going to work, and that's how you call plays, and that's how you do things.
Well, and you know, for years, like I said a little while ago, I like that continuity on offense. So our offense has been complicated, and because of that, I wanted the defense to be as simple as possible. I don't want a defensive guy to think. I just want a defensive guy to go.
Yeah, to react.
Right, to react. So Miguel comes in with all these calls. I'm like, ugh, I'm cringing a little bit. But when you start, like you said, when you look at the defensive lineman's got to know 5 things, and mainly it's alignment. Like in
Right.
33, they got to line up on the outside eye. On 11, they got to line up on the inside eye. 31, they got to line up here. 13, they got to line up. It's just about alignment. And then
Yeah.
after that, you do what you do, right? So there's not really as much thinking post-snap. It's all pre-snap. And same thing with the linebackers, you know, blitzing and all. It's mainly pre-snap stuff. So we're still thinking fast, but it's causing the offense to have to think, because if we're going to put our guys in different spots all night long and bring blitzes from different places,
no doubt.
we're keeping the offense thinking, and we're making their life harder.
Yeah, you can't make it easy
So,
for them for sure.
It's good having an experienced coach like Miguel. I mean, to have a guy that's been a high school defensive coordinator for what, 2 years, 3 years? 3 years to come down to middle school level and be my defensive coordinator is huge. Same thing with Coach Pascarella. Coach Pascarella is my offensive coordinator. He was the offensive coordinator at the high school for years, for what, 2 or 3 years there. So, you know, I'm taking all the high school's rejects and recycling them down at the middle school level, and I know they're great coaches and they can do a great job. Rejects is not the right word there.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, we'll keep it right. I'm tired, but I'm always looking for good coaches. And speaking of coaches, I mean, I would be remiss if I didn't throw them out. I know y'all are trying to end the session, but
We go as long as we can.
let me throw those guys out here real
We
quick.
make our own rules here.
So obviously, I'm the head coach. Coach Pascarella Scott Pascarella is our offensive coordinator. Coaches defensive backs, outside backers, quarterbacks. Todd Lamberth is my offensive line coach and helps with inside backers. Clay Dixon is inside backers and offensive line. Lamar Totten is defensive backs and receivers. Eddie Panabaker is running backs and outside backers. Miguel Almendarez is defensive line, linebackers, defensive coordinator. Notice I didn't give him an offensive title. He has an offensive title. It's offensive line coach, but he never sticks around for the offensive time. Adrian Crabtree coaches my tight ends and my defensive tackles. Tyler Neal coaches my defensive backs and my running backs. Jay Metter coaches receivers and defensive backs. Jared Mays coaches defensive ends and offensive line, and he's kind of my pseudo head coach with the JV. Fred Combs coaches my outside backers and my backs. He's also kind of a pseudo head coach with the JV. Him and Mays, double responsibility there. And then Tim Sebring is a coach that coaches our running backs and linebackers. So like I said, all in all, we've got 13 when we're all there, counting myself, and I'm blessed to have them because every single one of them is, number one, good around the kids, and then number two, experienced at what they do, and willing to spend the time. And out of all those guys, I get paid to do it. Coach Combs, Coach Lambert, Coach Pasquarelli get paid to do it. The other 9 don't get a dime. They're every day at practice, working their butts off with the kids, no money whatsoever, just putting in the time and the effort to try to help young men be better young men and better football players, and I appreciate every single one of them.
Coach, there, you got anything? Last minute things?
No, I don't think so. Just show up to the game too.
Yeah, come out to the game. I
And
want
it's
a
at
big
7,
crowd.
which is good.
7
for me.
o'clock, right? Bigger the crowd, the better. We want to show. We're going to wear purple jerseys, white pants. I know we've got some various color combinations. I thought about going with the gray jersey at first because of the temperatures. Try to have it a little bit lighter on the boys. But I thought, you know what? It's the first game Portland Middle School since 2008. We're coming out with a purple jersey and white pants. We're tradition. We got the P on the right side.
Yep.
We got the running Panther on the left. I don't know if people saw our Facebook post yesterday.
I
but
saw it. That's nice.
we got the Power P on the right-hand side to honor Coach Collins. Coach Collins had that Power P from 1979 till whenever the Power P was stopped being used. It's never stopped being used at Portland Middle School, and it never will be. And on the left-hand side, we got the Running Panther, which Coach Johnson brought in 1967. It was used from 1967 to 1978. So we're honoring the tradition of Portland football on our helmet. We're honoring the tradition of Portland football with our purple jerseys and our white pants. We want you to come out and watch us and support us because we're trying to do the best thing that we can for this community and win a football game. So we need you cheering us to help us out.
Anything, Kyle?
No, it's been good.
See you Tuesday, Kyle.
It's
Sounds
gonna be
good.
great. It's gonna be great.
Robert, you got anything?
Excited to see what this team brings to the table. I'm looking forward to week 9.
So, anyway,
That's
you like that? You
championship.
like
Yes,
that?
sir. I got it.
It took me a second.
I called it.
Yeah.
It didn't take me a second. I'm looking forward to week 9 too. That's the goal.
Well, we appreciate Robert Gilman for coming by, stopping by. Hopefully, everybody will listen to him on Tuesday nights, him and Coach Thayer, and hopefully Kyle Eaton. If not, they can find another third guy.
We can pull it off.
You gotta hear the things we talk about trying to pull it off, helping call the defense and then do the broadcasting too. So.
Well, and before we were talking about you doing the radio and helping with football. Now you can do the football and help with the radio.
I'm
When
gonna
we're
wear-
on offense,
I'm gonna wear 2 headsets.
when we're on offense, you could call the radio.
See, I like your thinking.
On
You
field.
don't help with the offense
We got an
anyway.
on-field commentator on the field.
You hear the live calls. But we want to thank Robert Gilman. We also want to thank head coach Kyle Lane here for joining us today. Like I said, we was talking about it in the last week or two. Things are happening. Fall camp's happening for everybody. High school sports are coming in. It seems like you come back from the dead period after July 4th, and you're like, okay, we've got a couple of morning workouts here and there, but all of a sudden you turn around and it's like it's here. So middle school football is here. You still got the high school scrimmage last night against Rossview. They will scrimmage again next Friday night against Gallatin, which is here. And like I said, the volleyball teams, they're going to crank it up. You got girls soccer that's be cranking it up. Everything in the high school stuff. Baseball and softball youth is winding down, but PYFL is cranking up. You'll have youth soccer, cranking up in about a month or so. So a lot of sports going on, and we're trying to cover everything we can. I'd like to do a couple Saturday shows out there at PYFL. That's what we're wanting to do is go out there, set a table up, and broadcast some of their games, everything.
Can I speak to that for just a moment? I believe August 22nd is the Panther Bowl there at Richland Park. I think 8 teams are going to be participating in that, and it should be a great day of football championship game for every classification there. So should be a great day. If you don't have anything going on, check out our PYFL preseason bowl game. August 22nd, I believe, is that date.
Maybe we'll get into it. Go ahead.
And I failed to mention, I told someone we would bring it on here, Portland Little League is having their back-to-school home run session. It's supposed to be today starting at noon, and it's supposed to be all day. I don't know if the weather has interfered with that or not, but they're going to have a glow-in-the-dark baseball game to end the night. I'd like to
You gonna
see
be the
what
home run contest?
I'd like to see what
I
that's
think I
all
saw
about.
that the other
So
day
what
on
is it?
Facebook.
What do you do when you go over there?
Well, they're going to have awesome slides for you. They're going to have field day games, fire trucks,
slides.
prizes for games
So
that are
can you
being
just
played.
show up with the kid and they're
Bring
gonna
the
get
whole family.
taken care of, or
Help
what?
us celebrate the end of summer before school starts. I don't think you just drop them off.
Well,
and
I don't
leave.
know. I'm just wondering, right?
Yeah, stay with your kids.
Yes.
Yeah. For
Monitor your kids, please.
That's all.
That's
sure.
today
So you going over
That
there?
is today. Starts at noon.
at the Little League Park.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's probably too muddy to do anything. Though.
We'll try to get something done. But again, we appreciate both our guests coming on today. Appreciate Kyle and Coach Thayer for coming in and helping out with the broadcast and everything. Hopefully everybody goes out and has a great day. I know it's wet and gloomy out, so maybe stay in and do some housework. Kyle, you do some more painting.
On it.
But anyway, I appreciate everybody stopping by, listening in, and again, need anything to know about Portland sports, high school youth, we're going to try to put it up on the Facebook page as much as we can. But always remember, you can always stop by YouTube channels, Portland Sports Network, where it's always the home for Panther Athletics, and as always, go Panthers.